Alright, if you're watching this on YouTube, the games will be at about 16 minutes in, so go there. Otherwise, yeah, there's just going to be some noise. Hello, Verdome? Verdome? Who are we going to see today in the replays? I don't know all of the people, but here's some of the people in the first couple games. IsMaiL PavelSuperstar, Fibonacci, Old, DillPickle, YuNo, Killabear, A&F, 9Track, XOUTH, Chris, YuNo, ShyHC, also known as XYHC, KingKonG, Andrey, Happy, ASDF, IsMaiL SaLeeN99, whole bunch of different people. By the way, if everything is looking and sounding good, if you're watching live on Twitch, go ahead and let me know, just so I have confidence that everything's working. And as you're watching today, if you are live on Twitch watching this, you should see maybe an ad when you load the stream. But in theory, you should see no more ads on after that, because I'm not partnered on Twitch. But I'm curious, because when I watch VODs on Twitch, they have these terrible mid-rolls, and I don't know if they put those on everyone's streams or just partners' streams. So if you get mid-roll ads and you're watching live on Twitch, definitely let me know, because then I will basically stop streaming on Twitch. In theory, right, I should want to have like some YouTube stuff going on and some Twitch stuff going on, but if the Twitch system is just we put mid-roll ads in the middle of everything for everyone, and I'm not getting anything from that, and it's worse for viewers, then why would I stay on Twitch when I have much more control over on YouTube? Even though then that puts all of my eggs in one basket. So. Hey, what happened to the YouTube video with Bike and Future? No, I didn't remove it. I'm guessing you are thinking of the... I accidentally just streamed on YouTube, because that's what OBS was connected to last time. And the last time I was on YouTube, I was streaming Futurama vs. Bike Rush Owns. So technically, that already happened. It happened on October 21st. So it's a little over 2 hours of games that you can watch over there. By the way, we're listening to some music right now. We got some cyberpunky stuff going on. I have some games that I have to get through as far as like writing down people's names and colors, so that when I cast the games, I'm not constantly lost, because a whole bunch of these are team games. So we got like another 10 minutes of music to go, and then we'll actually start the games. Also, good chance to grab yourself a water or a coffee. I have got myself both. Maybe you want to make yourself a lovely cup of tea. You can also do that. But, yeah. Oro97, I can't run ads on Twitch because I'm not partnered. Unless that's something they've recently opened up to everyone. But as far as I know, I can't run ads on Twitch because I'm not partnered. And since I can't run ads, that might mean Twitch is choosing to run ads just whenever they want. But I don't know. The mid-roll ads on Twitch are terrible. And I was watching some StarCraft 2 VODs a couple weeks ago. And these mid-roll ads just keep coming up in the middle of games. They're never at appropriate times. They're always in the middle of something. It's just terrible. Will these casts be thrown onto YouTube as well? Yes. So when I get done here, I'll upload the VOD straight to YouTube, and it'll be up in a couple of hours. I have not checked out Age of... What is that called? Is it? It's not Age of Empires, really? Is that what that game is called? No, I have not checked it out. It's still on my list of things to do, but recently I have been... Like, we had a whole bunch of shoots booked at work, and so I have not actually been doing very much of anything recently. Okay, yeah, okay, Age of Empires. I don't know, that sounded weird. It was like, what is that? Is that jamais vu, when something familiar seems unfamiliar? Deja vu is something familiar seems... Unfamiliar seems familiar? Anyways. Yeah, the ESL StarCraft 2 channel... I don't know if they control the mid-rolls, though, because I think Twitch updated a little while ago, and they basically said, hey, if you don't run ads, we're just going to run ads for you. So, are you going to live stream more? Maybe in the kind of like Christmas break, because right now at work, we don't have any shoots scheduled until the new year. So I've got editing to do at work, but editing is on my own hours, and so we've got like one project that has to be finished up this week, which is actually technically like 10 videos, but it's basically one project. And then we have a couple of other videos that have to be edited at work, but I do that at sometimes non-optimal times. I was editing between like midnight and 4 a.m. the other day, so I tend to use the better hours, like 10 or 11 a.m. for me. I tend to use that for live streaming or recording, and then I do my actual job at odd hours of the night. Alright, for those of you in the pre-stream, which is right now, I'm basically going through the replays that I'm going to be casting, and I basically open up the replay, and then I write down everyone's names in WordPad, and I color code them so that when I get into the game, I know who everyone is. So that's what I'm doing right now while we're listening to this music. So you're going to hear some Red Alert 3 sounds as I, like, load and as I load replays and then quit the replays. So if you hear Red Alert 3 sounds, you're not missing anything. I'm not going full-on Spartacus radio mode. We've got so many Magma Madness, not Magma Madness, Magmageddon games today. None from the actual Magma Madness tournament. But we've got so many Magma games today. One of these names... One of these people's names may make some people upset. We'll see. Grey Wolf Construction, what is up? Are you the Grey Wolf from Tib Wars Remastered? Wait, was it Grey Wolf or was it? I'm thinking Gandalf the Earl Grey Tea. That's what I'm thinking of. Never mind. DillPickle, got your email. Oh, okay. Hey, you're here. Okay. Yeah, we're casting a little DillPickle today. We got a DillPickle replay in here. We've got 8 replays that we are casting today that people have sent in. I was hoping I was going to make it a little further through my emails, but I still have like 50-something replays, or 50-something emails which people have sent replays in through that I have to go through at some point. Got a bunch of Kane's Wrath, so maybe like tomorrow we'll do some Kane's Wrath. And one last Magmageddon. So we have 6 Magmageddon games today. But it's another 3v3. Someone told me, who's Aurora? Is Aurora somebody? Somebody told me I cast a game with Aurora in recently, and someone told me. Alcatraz. AlcatrazHD making the return. All right, I've got all of the replays prepped. I've got a big old Word document with everyone's name and color in the order that they spawn. So we are ready to begin. Blind Honor, Edvin, Linkbane, what's up, guys? Thank you all very much for tuning in. I think we've got like 5 more minutes. If you've been enjoying the tunes, they're from a composer by the name Kyle McCuston. He has a great cyberpunk music pack, which obviously was... It has nothing to do with the game Cyberpunk, but obviously was timed to release around the same time as the Cyberpunk game. But it's just Cyberpunk-styled music. And is that a genre? Is Cyberpunk its own music genre? I don't know. But it's a great pack. So if you're enjoying these tunes... Kyle McCuston. Great composer. I am doing pretty well. Thank you for asking. Full geared. Yeah, everything's been going well on this end. Been a little busy, and my wife and I, our anniversary is just after Christmas. So we are entering the time of year where we were supposed to have some travel planned this year, and it all, of course, got thrown out the window. So we were looking at what of the travel we can do over the course of like this holiday season, and we have some family coming to visit us, but it's like it's all very limited travel, and I haven't seen my side of the family because they don't live in the same area as me for a couple of years now, because we were supposed to see them this year. So other than that, things have been going well. Hopefully things are going well for all of you guys also. Grey Wolf Construction, I'm glad you're trying to get the remastered stuff going, because remastered is fun. It has a frenetic, chaotic, fast pace to it, and the fact that a lot of the games are 3 minutes is in some ways good and in some ways bad. But it's definitely fun to watch when it's fun, and then at other times it is less fun to watch. So I'm glad people are still playing it, still enjoying it. Yeah, Edvin. Still interested in an interview. XOUTH is, I guess, taking some time for other stuff, but yeah. And I try to respond to non-email or non-replay emails when I see them. I just don't get to replays as quickly as I should. Trying to make the switch from Kane's Wrath on 360 to PC. Welcome to the PC life. If you can play an RTS with a controller, you have more skill and more patience than me, so congratulations. You are kind of amazing. There was actually a guy who used to play StarCraft 2 with a controller, and of course that's only on PC, which was pretty amazing. He liked using the controller, and he was actually pretty good. There were, of course, some downsides, but he was quite good with a controller. Is it going to be archived? I think on Twitch it's available for like 30 days or something, but it'll be on YouTube forever, so. The real Yuri Prime says, I actually didn't realize that Sybert is responding to our chat. Yeah, I'm not just having a conversation with myself and making stuff up. I am reading the chat at the time when I can. No, but Hastings, I hope you find Kane's Wrath on PC enjoyable. I hope you stick around, play some games, jump online, maybe even participate in some tournaments. Lots of tournaments do have random prizes. So if you show up and you literally get 0-2'd or 0-3'd, you drop out of the tournament immediately, you can still win a random prize. So you still participate, you get to play against other people, you may even pick up some practice partners from that experience, and then you may also win like 10 or 15 bucks, so, yeah. The real Yuri Prime asks the same question that everyone else has been asking also, which is, hey, when this stream is done, will the VOD be available? Yes, the VOD will go on YouTube, as always, and probably a good time to recognize that I am still recording. Okay, yeah, I'm recording in OBS, so that's good. The music has ended, which means it's time to jump into our first game of the day. This is a 3v3 on Magmageddon. So we're going to be jumping into the real games. I've never seen you stream with your face, not like other streamers. Yeah, I don't actually have a webcam. I used to do like a little face cam when I was streaming on my laptop back in college because I had a laptop with a webcam. But ever since I switched from a laptop to a desktop, I don't have a webcam. And I've never bothered to set one up because for 99.999% of what I do, a webcam isn't necessary, and I have no need for it. So every once in a while it's a hassle, but yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the games. All right, welcome to game number 1. And for those of you who have skipped forward on the YouTube VOD, this is Sybert signing in to Red Alert 3 in the Twitch stream. It looks kind of chunky. Let me know how things are feeling over on Twitch. In the top left-hand corner, as the Cyan Soviets, it's Atomic. In the middle, as the yellow Soviets, it's PavelSuperstar. And in the bottom left-hand corner, as the red allies, it's Fibonacci. In the top right-hand corner, making up team number 2 as the blue allies, it's Old. In the middle, as the purple allies, it's DillPickle. And as the green allies in the south, it's YuNo. YuNo, DillPickle, and Old. Which is an old DillPickle, don't you know? A couple of Soviets and an Allied player on one side, and then 3 Allied players on the other side. So, lots of Allied to go around, lots of Allies to go around, and not a lot of Empire in this match just right off the bat. Alright, so there are no dropped frames in OBS, and everything looks good there. But, boy, on Twitch, the quality looks terrible. Is this? Okay. The frame rate on Twitch, on my Twitch preview, looks like it's a potato. So, if that is the case, I don't know, we'll try and restart this or something. But, yeah, let me know. Because everything else on my end looks super good, but looks like a pile of trash on Twitch. PavelSuperstar going to be dropping a reactor in his allies' base. Always good to do that. Preserve your build radius there in the middle of their base if you can. Other than that, lots of scouting units from everyone. PavelSuperstar and Atomic going to be having a little bit of spat with their sickles with a couple of peacekeepers from Old here in the north. Vindicators from DillPickle going to be performing some bombing runs against Fibonacci, trying to thin out those peacekeeper numbers, slow everything down. And these peacekeepers from Old, I have no idea if this was his plan, was to keep the sickles off of his back while he got his airfield up, but it has definitely worked up to this point. These sickles have been completely, not nullified, but they've been completely delayed. So if these sickles were supposed to be for harassment, they are not doing any harassing at all. YuNo pokes in with a Riptide, gets chased away here in the south by Fibonacci. And for now, Fibonacci is going to have a pretty easy expansion to his third refiner, which I assume he is getting up right now. And as everyone moves forward, going to try and take their third refineries. A little bit of contesting happening as an aggressive MCV position coming out here from Old. At the same time, airfield out here on the water from DillPickle, who's moved his MCV, set up a third refinery of his own. We'll have to see if Old is really going to be going for a turret push. He has indeed claimed 2 oil derricks, so he got the oil derrick of his opponent, which is always nice to do. Pavel, on the other hand, going to be dropping that airfield. He's got his Tier 2 up and rocking, but it's mostly bullfrogs out on the field for him. A little bit of a bad bomb split there by Old, kind of splitting his bombs inefficiently across all of the targets, but it's enough to slow down the attack. I think those were a couple of Riptides from Fibonacci here in the base of YuNo, getting cleaned up there. Nice infect on the Prospector of YuNo by either Pavel or Atomic. Not sure who got the Terror Drone infect on that one. But Fibonacci starting to take down the power plant of YuNo. Always nice if you could cut off the power, but the response from YuNo is fast enough. The Wall's trying to come up to save this refinery. They barely do, delay its demise. And on top of that, it looks like the cashback reward was a little bit late. Very unfortunate there for Atomic, who is not having a good time. Old is kind of tearing Atomic apart. And it really feels like Atomic was not prepared for this. Maybe a faster Tier 2 instead of 4 fast refineries. A faster Tier 2, a couple more hammer tanks, or something else on the front lines here for Atomic would have been a better option. But in this case, he's lost both of his refineries on the front line, and he's got a whole bunch of peacekeepers that he can't quite deal with. A Sickle and a Bear going to try and make something happen, but a second multi-gunner turret going to be coming down from DillPickle to be working in tandem with the multi-gunner turret of Old, and actually a couple of multi-gunner turrets of Old. Great roar by that Bear, locking down all of those peacekeepers, except for if only there were units on the ground to do anything about all of these locked down peacekeepers, maybe this attack would be going somewhere. Laser lock on the MCV, and will they actually get any damage done? Yes, Atomic loses his MCV. It's just sitting there taking so much damage. Goodbye, MCV. It gets eliminated there. At the same time, Pavel going to be trying to take down the airfield of DillPickle, and DillPickle loses 1 Vindicator. A second Vindicator takes a lot of damage, and a third Vindicator may actually be able to escape. Although if they go back home to that airfield, they may just get eliminated by the Twin Blades. All of the Vindicators get cleaned up. Although, no, it looks like one did barely escape there. Not sure why those bullfrogs didn't do any damage to that one. Maybe just a little bit too far north for that. Atomic still trying to push back Old, and it looks like he has been able to kind of stop the attacks. Definitely having Fibonacci drop a multi-gunner turret near in his base has helped him out a good bit. And at the same time, going to be dropping his own sentry gun, trying to keep his hammer tanks alive, but it's just not quite going to be working out. Old coming in here with more Vindicators is going to be able to kill off that sentry gun just as it spawns in, and there is the Freer's Ray going to be coming down. I think that's from Fibonacci, going to be trying to stop the advance of Old. And Old dropping infrastructure right here on the front lines. He is looking at ending Atomic just as quickly as he can. Atomic going to be calling in the satellites there, and will be able to force the cleanup of 1 power plant. The barracks also does get sold off there. But for now, it's infantry and a multi-gunner turret and a couple of Vindicators against the forces of Fibonacci and PavelSuperstar and Atomic, who've kind of all come together in different ways to form this defense. All 3 players there in the north trying to defend against the attack of Old. Here in the middle of the map, multi-gunner IFVs and Javelin Troopers joining forces to try and shut down the expansion of Fibonacci. And Fibonacci, not able to really do anything about this, is going to try and, I guess, help out Pavel's defend his expansion there in the middle of the map. Pavel with the Twin Blades going to be backstabbing Old, and this could actually be a great way to cut off the infrastructure and the economy of Old. While Old is busy pressing forward, trying to eliminate Atomic here in the north side of the map, he himself is getting backstabbed with Twin Blades and Bullfrogs, and not really any way to efficiently stop them. So he could turn around all of his forces, try and come back here and do something about it, but that buys so much time and takes so much pressure off of Atomic. He is just going to go for it. The super reactor is going to be getting laser locked down. Atomic has been defeated. Fibonacci takes over for Atomic, and this is going to be it for our team on the left side. It is now going to be dramatically harder to step forward in this game. Old, on the other hand, has kind of been cut off right there in the middle, going to be losing oil derricks as well, which means he's going to be on one refinery economy. He desperately needs to get something else up and running soon, or he himself is going to be out of this game, much like Atomic. In a 3v2 situation, it's always tough if you're the team with just the two, but honestly, Atomic may not be in this game for very much longer. We'll have to see if Pavel is able to shut him down. Refinery still up and running, but the IFV, the multi-gunner turrets, are not necessarily in the best positions to defend against the Twin Blades, because they were not there to defend against the Twin Blades earlier. Cryo shot comes down. DillPickle looking to put a little bit of pressure on Fibonacci, and, well, it looks like Pavel and Fibonacci will be able to hold this off for now. Reinforcing hammer tanks coming in for Pavel. Going to be trying to find some kind of an angle to hold off those Guardian tanks. But the combined forces of Fibonacci and Pavel are going to be pretty strong here in the middle of the map. Vindicators from the north bombing the MCV of Pavel, and unfortunately for him, he's going to have to pack that up and move right along. Atomic has been completely, or Atomic's main base has been completely cleared out, but at the same time, I don't know if it'll be safe for Old to actually get in there and try and take any of that area. Big move through the middle of the map for Pavel and Fibonacci. The joint Hammer Tank, Twin Blade, Riptide, IFV army going to be trying to face off just against DillPickle. And DillPickle, unfortunately here, may end up taking too much damage. If he loses his entire army, he gets the MCV, so this is not going to be an even trade one way or the other. But at the same time, DillPickle may be losing his entire army, which means he may not be able to stop this push coming in any further. He's got two IFV turrets, multi-gunner turrets here on the front line, and then IFV does barely go down there. But Pavel and Fibonacci not going to try and push their luck, which means DillPickle is going to have a little bit more time to sit and recover. Twin Blades rushing in for a bit of a hit and run here and there, but honestly, if they don't do some more critical damage, I don't know if that, killing a couple of power plants will be enough. Killing Harvester is definitely going to be much better, and getting another power plant, considering that there are IFV turrets up here, and by that I mean multi-gunner turrets up here to defend DillPickle, killing the power plants is a nice move there. YuNo, unfortunately, not a lot of defense here in the south. YuNo was joined up with DillPickle for a little while, but no real defense back at home. Multi-gunner turret goes down, the MCV gets eliminated, and this refinery is exposed. This power plant is exposed, as the only thing guarding it is a low-power multi-gunner turret. Pavel and Fibonacci once again going to be going toe-to-toe with YuNo and DillPickle here in the middle of the map. The crushes are good. That is exactly what he needed. The Athena cannon not able to really do very much, and low-power mode YuNo, all of YuNo's forces getting cleaned up, the static D doing basically nothing in this game, and coming back online just now, but the Twin Blades now have a whole lot less to actually deal with. And Fibonacci's laser lock Javelin Troopers not necessarily getting a lot of work done, as they don't actually have time to laser lock anything and destroy it. Once again, the multi-gunner turrets do stand strong, and I'm actually surprised this much of the base did survive that. Another power plant gets eliminated. YuNo can't really rebuild these power plants. I don't think he has any way to rebuild the MCV, so it's just pretty much going to be up to the barracks, up to those structures that are out there on the map. And honestly, okay, this is the last power plant for YuNo, I believe, which means after that, it's lights out. Oh no, there's one more power plant up here in the north. So 2 power plants left for YuNo and a bunch of barracks. So YuNo has a decent amount of infantry production and a little bit of economy, but not a good way, not really a way to rebuild much of an army. At the same time, DillPickle been on that tier 3 for quite a while, and if DillPickle and YuNo can kind of form up their infantry armies, they can pump out a lot of damage extremely quickly. The refinery does not get canceled. It does get placed down here, which I think is a bit of a mistake there from Fibonacci. He packs up his MCV, but he probably should have just canceled that refinery and kept the cash, because that was not worth it. Big infantry army. Where are the freezes? Where are the crushes here? For Fibonacci or Pavel, one of them needs to get in here with some vehicles and take down these infantry, but they have nothing here on the front lines to defend against these forces. They're instead going to be cutting north, trying to kill the MCV of old, and trying to... I think my wife just came home. Trying to cut through the MCV. This game turning into a bit of a chaotic mess between these 4 players. DillPickle and YuNo, together with Old, trying to make something happen. We got a little bit of an appearance of Baby Bert here. You guys, of course, can't see him, but he's here. That sickle jumping into the middle of that infantry army, not able to really do anything as it gets instantly annihilated. And the super reactor also goes boom. The Athena Cannon putting out some serious hurt. DillPickle with that fully heroic Athena Cannon chewing through so much of the stuff of now Fibonacci. And our team on the left side ultimately falling to our team on the right side. Do you want some veggie straws? Can you say hello? Can you say anything? No? He's waving. If you guys could see, he would be waving, but... Nothing? Nothing? Alright. You guys got a little wave from Baby Bert. You guys just don't know it. That'll do it for game number 1. It was a pretty action-packed game overall. I do need to make a quick adjustment to the way I have these names set up in WordPad. There we go. Okay. This one actually wasn't sent in. This one is from Game Replays. I'm gonna take a quick... The Twitch is looking fine? Okay. That's good to know. Ba-ba-ba. Alright, great. Then let's go ahead and jump over. Sorry about the end of that last game. I didn't realize my wife was coming home in the middle of that, but... Hello, wife, Bert. And Baby Bert normally is much more of a talker, but today he is not... He is not talking.
He was talking up a storm in Walmart.
What are you doing? Home. All right.
Dada has the snacks.
All right, we're going to be jumping into the next game in just a moment. All right, welcome back. And by welcome back, I mostly mean welcome back to me. And that takes us to Infinity Isle on the left side as the green allies. This is Killabear. And on the right side as the red allies, it's Old. Allies versus allies on Infinity Isle. Well, I don't know either of one of these players, so we will have to see exactly how this goes. Ooh, Airfield first coming out from Old. He's going to be a little slow to get the kill on the engineer, but maybe he's got some other kind of plan for that airfield. Gets one Vindicator, and, well, I guess he could be trying to go for a Cryo Rush. We'll have to see. But the dog should spot this pretty early on from Killabear, and yep, he's definitely going to know now because he just got a couple of dog bombs. A couple of dogs bombed. And, well, unfortunately for him, he's not going to have any more of that scouting information. The response from Killabear is to go a second barracks, so we'll have to see how that works out. It is going to be lots of walls around this airfield and around these refineries. So, and then the power plant is way out here on the water. So we'll have to see what exactly Old has planned for this game. I don't know that it makes a lot of sense from this. Oh, no, he sold off the airfield. He ended up going for a fast airfield, walled it in, and then sold it off. So I'm not sure about that. That doesn't seem like necessarily the best moves to make. MCV moving out here to the water for Killabear. Infantry moving in, and he's going to have to wall up his main base to try and delay these infantry. Decides to replace his walls in a slightly better strategic position here, and he may be forced to add on another section of walls. Oh, he's a little bit late on the wall segments there, and trying to get some walls in to save his refinery. And the crushes, they are almost amazing. Oh, those crushes were so close to being incredible, but they ended up just being mediocre, as I think it was like one Peacekeeper. That Peacekeeper all crouched down, searching for a target as if he can shoot through walls, but he can't. Riptides showing up for the defense from Old. At the same time, Killabear going to be going for a third refinery out on the water. So at the same time that he's killing off Old's economy, he himself is establishing better economy for the mid and late game. More walls going to be going down here for Old, and Old, I think, was going to hope to place an airfield inside of those walls, but unfortunately for Old, he will not be able to do that. 5 Riptides and an MCV should be able to push this attack back, but at the same time, Killabear has gotten so much free time and free space with this attack. He's taken his third refinery. He's still got his oil derrick, and his opponent has not even claimed an oil derrick, which at this point, it would actually be probably good for Killabear to just kill off the oil derrick and completely deny that from his opponent. Vindicator's going to be coming in, able to kill off 1 Riptide. 4 more Riptides going to be showing up in some wall segments. They're a little bit late, and he's low on cash, so these wall segments aren't actually forming complete wall-offs. A little bit unfortunate there for Killabear, but the Riptides do get turned around, and this is just like... this is the best opening almost you could ask for from Killabear. He did invest a lot into the infantry, but he got good value for them, and he may end up losing them to the Riptides here. But if he's able to clean up a couple of these Riptides, then that will actually be worth it. Dude, 2 Vindicators bombing 1 single Riptide. I guess it ended up working out in the end because the infantry cleaned up the other Riptide, but not a very efficient use of uh-oh, he's only got Peacekeepers. Not a very efficient use of Vindicator bombs. Walls coming up in the main base, and Old is going to try and fight this out with walls. It's going to be double airfield out on the water. Well, you know, I guess this is one way to play this. You can just bomb your opponent to death and keep them behind in that way. But it's going to be double racks as a response. What is this game? 3 refinery versus 3 refinery, double racks versus double airfield. Vindicators coming in. This is so many Vindicators over-bombing all of these structures. And this Vindicator not actually doing anything, almost going down for no good reason. And at the same time... well, the MCV goes for the crush, doesn't get anything. So that was a bit of a wonky attack there from Killabear, who super committed on 1 barracks and then took just so much damage on all of his Vindicators and ended up like far more damage than you ever need to. Tier 2 on the seaport and, well, on all of these things. So wouldn't be surprised to see a cryocopter or 2, as well as a couple of assault destroyers coming out from Killabear. And honestly, that would probably be the best thing, is like 1 or 2 assault destroyers to help out these Vindicators, to soak up a lot of damage, to crush walls, to do all of those things. Peacekeeper's putting some serious damage on this MCV, but this shouldn't be enough for Killabear to just end the game with these Peacekeepers. A single Peacekeeper as response is not quite appropriate, and the MCV is not actually going to be going for the crush, instead trying to drive to the other side of that wall segment to force away the Peacekeepers. And, well, for now, that actually does kind of work. A lot of Javelin Troopers here, a lot of Peacekeepers potentially here. They're actually all hiding over next to this palm tree for old. None of these wall segments that are frozen are anywhere near the Peacekeepers, so the Peacekeepers may not actually get to those wall segments in time. I guess this guy could have broken down some of those walls. That would have been a nice way to open up that area a little more. And the Peacekeepers of Killabear get eliminated. The refinery also gets eliminated. Unfortunately for Killabear, I don't think he realized that there are more vulnerable refineries to bomb than that one. He could have bombed other refineries with his Vindicators and gotten more value. We're up to Tier 3. Oh my gosh, Killabear going straight to Tier 3. I don't know why. Is he just going aircraft carriers? And now he goes armor facility, all off a 3 refinery. What is his plan here? Okay, he is going aircraft carriers, but if you're going aircraft carriers, do you also need to spend $2 grand on the war factory? Or do you need both of your airfields? I don't know that you need all of these things. Aircraft carrier in the south going to be moving out for Killabear, and Killabear should, in theory, be able to clean this game up with a nice artillery advantage. Going for the MCV or maybe killing off one of the refineries and then going for the MCV would be a good way to just hamstring your opponent, and we'll have to see what Killabear ends up going for, as it is going to be the refinery just right out of the gate. Goes for the throat of the refinery. Old, on the other hand, is going for the oil derrick, going to be eliminating one oil derrick from his opponent. A couple of Riptides here for Killabear, and I don't know that Killabear really... Killabear needs to respond. 3 Vindicators, a couple of Cryocopters, lots of Riptides, so there definitely is units here to respond, but Killabear a little bit late on the response. He hasn't taken very much damage on his refinery just yet. Refinery of Old goes down. Second refinery here on the high ground will be eliminated by this aircraft carrier, but unfortunately this prospector never actually got to work. It's bugged, and unfortunately for Old, he never really got any cash out of that refinery. Laser lock on this war factory. I don't know if getting out these couple of Riptides was really worth it, but it looks like the Riptide's able to chew through some of the Javelin Troopers. Of course, the infantry numbers are just a little bit overwhelming here. Ooh, Killabear doesn't even get the crushes with the Prospector, and now the Riptides are just walking past this infantry, taking so much damage, just getting eliminated. A lot of mistakes coming out from Killabear for someone who opened up this game so well. He's really falling down at the last hurdle here and losing his entire base to infantry. His only saving grace here is really that infantry can't swim. He's finally sold off one of those airfields. Still no assault destroyers. Nothing to really absorb damage and crush these infantry and just go about that way. One assault destroyer in Black Hole Armor mode with those Riptides would have done a lot better, or 2 assault destroyers, one in Black Hole Armor mode, and them both going for some crushes. Either one of those options would have helped eliminate some of these infantry problems that Killabear has had to deal with. Aircraft drones coming in, but of course, if units keep moving, then the aircraft drones just miss. You gotta stand still for them to be able to hit. Naval Yard under threat for certain. Going to be forcing the sell-off there as the Peacekeepers body block that Riptide and keep it away from the heroic Javelin Trooper. Great control there by Old, or by Killabear. Or excuse me, by Old against Killabear. And these Javelin Troopers are laser locking down the MCV. The MCV takes 50% damage before finally moving out of range of those Javelin Troopers, and the aircraft carrier was attacking the Peacekeepers up here in the north instead of the Javelin Troopers there a little bit closer to home. Naval Yard in the north for Old. Old is going to have a tough time finishing this one out, but at the same time, Killabear has made a lot of mistakes in the last couple of minutes, so I feel like it is possible with the weird position that Killabear is in. 2 aircraft carriers against some infantry. Now, of course, the hydrofoils can shut down the aircraft carriers, which completely nullifies them, and then there aren't that many other units out here on the map for Killabear. He's got some aircraft, but he doesn't have really any production facilities. So the combination of a couple of hydrofoils and the infantry could actually win out the day in a very bizarre way, especially with those weapon jammers. They could do some serious damage, and by that I mean they could stop some serious damage from happening. Oh, he's going for the command hub. Does Killabear not know about this base? Because the MCV got sold off. Oh, the power plant also got sold off. This is just like a straight-up bum rush by Old. He's just going to try and rush in here with a couple of hydrofoils and a couple of dolphins and just go straight for the throat. And Naval Yard in the south. Oh my gosh, there's actually nothing here to defend against this. An Apollo goes down. It's going to be weapon jam hydrofoils against weapon jamming hydrofoils. But actually, the Dolphins not being jammed eliminate 2 of the hydrofoils straight away. And now the hydrofoils from Old actually going to be reigning supreme against Killabear. And Killabear actually has nothing here. Somehow, Killabear has nothing here. It's actually no anti-air for... Oh, this is it. If Old loses this naval yard, if it gets frozen and eliminated... No, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, the Vindicators! The Vindicators flying over that, and... This is... What? What? He just gave away all those cryocopters. He's going for the freeze. He's going to try and rush over here with 1 dolphin. This lone dolphin is the only thing that can attack. He's got something else. He's got an Apollo. The Apollo didn't do the damage to the seaport. No, Killabear, you've lost it. This aircraft carrier literally needs to get 1 drone over here, and it's, well, not anymore because it's unfrozen. But it's game over. Aircraft carrier drones getting locked down there by the weapons jammer. The naval yard gets eliminated by Old, and Old now just has to kill off the MCV of Killabear, and actually it's going to be going for the aircraft carrier as these 4 dolphins, 3 of them fully heroic, 1 of them with double vet, now all 4 fully heroic, are going to be going for the MCV. And this is actually a tie game situation. Okay, no, it's not. He's got the infantry. I was like, if he only has the dolphins, then it's a tie game situation. So... Killabear has an MCV and apparently no cash. This... He's just running. He's just running the MCV. I feel like this needs that Benny Hill music. The MCV is just running away so slowly, but the infantry are also following just as slowly. Old is trying to get out enough cash to do something, but... Alright, the Dolphins are closing in. The infantry are closing in. He's just going to try and run away. But out on the water, the Dolphins and the hydrofoils can actually body block the MCV in and stop it from returning to land, which means that they can just slowly but surely get the kill. Yeah, you can weapon jam. Okay, he's going for the kill with the infantry. The infantry can, of course, be crushed, so you want to keep the MCV out on the water if you can. Oh my gosh. He's trying to stutter step his infantry, but that doesn't really work very well against vehicles. You have to split and then... Yep, okay, this is it. Killabear has been defeated. Game over. And Old is victorious. What a game. What a clown fiesta. An absolute clown fiesta. And that will do it for our second game. H2O Old pulling that one out in the end. And what was the total? 25,000 credits versus 41,000 credits. That's something. All right, we're gonna go to a quick break. We're gonna listen to a song, and I'll be back in just a minute. Now's a good time to get yourself a beverage. Perfect timing. All right, if you're watching this live, sorry about all of the delays in getting through everything. I had to check in with my wife about some stuff, so we are good to go now. All right, we've got a Magma game coming up. It's another 3v3, so I hope you guys are ready for some team game action, because we have got so many more of those replays to get through today. Sean Rocks says soda is in his hand. He is ready to go. Good to know, and glad that you've got your bevs figured out. Welcome back to Magmageddon. In the top left-hand corner as the blue allies, this is ANF. In the middle as the green allies, it's 9-track And in the south, making up our team number 1 as the Orange Empire, it's XOUTH. In the top right-hand corner as the Red Soviets, making up team number 2, it's Chris, a.k.a. Chris 880. In the middle as the Yellow Empire, it's YuNo. And in the south as the Cyan Empire, it's XYHC, a.k.a. XYHC. When I first casted a game of old XYHC, you guys know XYHC, good old XY. I was familiar with the Chinese player Shy from StarCraft 2, which is pronounced Shy but spelled XY, and so I kind of was thinking of his name in a similar way. So I called him XYHC, or just Shy. And then, as it turns out, that's not actually his name or how it's pronounced. Also, he's not Chinese. I believe he's Canadian. So, yeah, it was basically wrong in every possible way, but I still like calling him XYHC, even though it's not correct in any possible way. Anyways, he makes lots of great videos, does lots of nice streams, great player, great person to watch. So, always good to see XYHC in a game. Chris going to be dropping down a sentry gun to try and defend, but 9track and XOUTH making this very annoying and very irritating for our team on the right side. XOUTH with the build radius and the dojo trying to do something, but it's just getting walled off, and this is one of those things where 9track is investing a decent amount into this attack, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Meanwhile, Chris in the north going to be pressuring A and F a little bit here. YuNo also here to pressure with a bit of a dojo core, trying to get some kind of crushes, and the crushes may actually be incredible as the bear comes in with the killer roar and gets the crush alongside that dojo core. What a great move there by YuNo and Chris, a combo move that totally crushes the infantry army of ANF. He spent so much cash on those Peacekeepers this early into the game, and those Peacekeepers got nothing for him. Now, he does still have a Riptide running around. He's got an MCV for a crush. He should be able to wiggle his way out of this, although at the same time he's getting double Tengu harassed almost. I guess the second Tengu didn't quite get the memo that we're on the attack path, that this is a war game. But instead, he's just kind of hanging out, seeing the sights, which, you know, all things considered, there are some lovely sights here on Magmageddon. So, except for the Magma. The Magma may be a cool sight. I don't know that it's a lovely sight. Terror Drone from Chris is going to be able to lock down the Riptide, lock down the MCV as well, and the MCV did not get a second order to keep moving, so it's just frozen there in place. At the same time, Chris is going to pull back. He's going to have to try and retreat a little bit. 9track coming in with the repeat Vindicator bombing runs and great bomb splitting to be able to save A and F here in the north. Finally, Shy does kill off everything in his base that XOUTH had built earlier. XOUTH and 9track trying to make something happen in the base of Shy, but it just does not work out. And finally, XYHC has been able to break free of the attack. At the same time, here in the middle of the map, YuNo with a 4-refinery, 1 oil derrick economy. No, just kidding, that's 3 refineries, but it's really just an extra harvester over here. So he's got 3 refineries and an oil derrick, not quite the 4 refineries that he should have. XOUTH going to be coming in here with a little bit of Tengu harass, going to be keeping Chris from harvesting. At the same time, Chris trying to go for the crush with his MCV. It's a little bit awkward to get the MCV in there, and sometimes the angle just does not allow it. Sometimes you can kind of force the MCV to get the crush, and you're able to clean up the Tengu, but in this case, Chris is having no luck actually doing this, and the Tengu gets the infect anyway, so with the armor, this Ore Collector should survive this attack, but it's going to take a little bit longer for Chris to be able to clean that up than he would like. 9track with a couple of Apollos going to be tangling with YuNo, and YuNo is actually going to be losing that engagement 3-2, with this second Apollo taking very little damage, so YuNo overcommitting to that attack, not realizing that I think those Tengus were a little bit damaged to begin with. And I mean, Apollos are better than Tengus. They're more expensive than Tengus, but they're just better than Tengus in general. Super Reactor going to be going down almost as all of these tank busters get eliminated. They could have gone for the kill on that terror drone and then just killed the super reactor afterwards, but I guess the bear was going to be showing up to get the kill on the tank busters one way or the other. As the sudden transport also gets eliminated, XOUTH unable to execute his sneaky plays successfully against Chris. Nice catch by XYHC with a couple of Tangus, going to be able to eliminate on that Vindicator there. But, ooh, Shy going to be losing his ground forces to the Cryocopters. And, of course, the Cryocopter Chopper VX combo of 9-Track and XOUTH is a powerful thing to contend with. 9-Track leaving a couple of Cryocopters here in the middle of the map to take a bit of damage from these choppers, or these strikers, now choppers, as the Apollos close in for 9-Track. They don't actually get the kill on YuNo's strikers as they fly right past them, and then they turn around and run away. But they're going to be able to focus them down now as both transform and go for the kill on the Apollos, and they will get one Apollo. The second Apollo does not escape either, but 3 Cryocopters will fly away safely, at least at the current moment. XOUTH turning south to attack Shy here at the main base of Shy, and it's going to be Tengu versus Tengu, but of course one guy has point defense drones on his Tengus, and I think that's going to be favoring XOUTH a little bit there, as he hasn't actually transformed to deal with the... Ooh, I think those were... Oops. I think those Tengus were supposed to be inside of the walls. He accidentally transformed 3 of them outside of the walls. I mean, we've all done it, but we just don't all do it in front of everybody. Usually it happens in the quiet of night, when in the back room of our houses where no one can see our shame of how bad at transforming Tengus we are. And the Harvester actually escapes with the repair of the Mecha Bay, barely getting away. But up here in the north, Chris and YuNo almost joining forces. YuNo is just kind of sitting here nearby, but not actually participating in the action. Chris with a couple of hammer tanks, a couple of bears, a couple of bullfrogs, and a terror drone, going to be trying to put some pressure on ANF. ANF coming back pretty strong, now up to a 4 refinery economy. He's got the oil derrick as well. ANF feeling good in this game and having bought himself a lot of time, still only on tier 1 though. That's probably the only downside for him, is that he hasn't been able to get up to that tier 2 or even up to that tier 3 as he would like to be sooner or later. Shy taking a lot of damage from 9-Track. Chris dropping a Tesla coil and a flak cannon in defense. That's a lot of cash dropped to try and help out his ally, but it's not actually going to be enough because everything pretty much escapes without really dying. But Chris has now bought a lot of time for XYHC to get back online and to get back into this game. Shy with his 2 refinery economy has been hurting for a long time. He definitely would like to get up a little bit more economy, but he just has not had the free time or space to be able to do that. Harvester gets eliminated. YuNo also losing more Harvesters, unfortunately for him. 9-Track pulling away the Apollos, going to try and get a kill on a Mecha Bay. This is a tier 2 Mecha Bay, so this is a pretty... Actually, that might have even been a tier 3 because he does have the nanotech mainframe. So he's got that around, trades it out for 2 Cryocopters, so that's a little bit of value back. But, man, those Cryocopters have been around for a long time. They've done so much for 9-Track in this game. Tengus, it's going to be 3 versus 1, and Shy is going to be losing 1 Tengu. The second one on the ground may actually be getting a kill on that Harvester to get a little bit more value. At the same time, XOUTH going for the kill on that power plant and won't quite get it before it deploys, but he will do a little bit of damage to that power plant down there. Tank Busters and Tsunami Tanks going to be making quick work of that. And actually, Chris going to be moving in at the same time of the refinery down here. Chris going to be moving in, and ANF and 9-Track combined are going to have to work together to stop this attack. No, just kidding. As YuNo pulls back his forces, he doesn't commit to the attack. So it's just kind of Chris... Chris with point defense drones on his Soviet units going to be able to pull back and escape from the cryo shot for a little while longer. Big swing from XOUTH over here on the right side of the map. A lot of Tengus looking for an opening, looking for an opportunity, either in YuNo's base or in XYHC's base to try and find some kind of angle, find some kind of damage. And Shy still unable to get anything really going on. He's been, I think, hurting economically for a long time, and I'm not sure what he's been doing in the last minute or two. But maybe he's just using his support powers up here in the north. Got that Emperor's Rage boosting the damage of these hammer tanks, and they're going to be able to eat up those Guardian tanks very quickly. Never have you seen all of these leech beams eat through this many units and structures that quickly. And it looks like these multi-gunner turrets are eventually going to go down. Cryocopters now here on the front line. A couple of hammer tanks going to be getting eliminated very quickly. Chris sends a couple of hammer tanks forward. The shrunken ones get eliminated. And actually, that's not too bad of a trade, but now the cryocopters are here, and the only 3 bullfrogs on the front lines to try and push these cryocopters back. And I guess the bullfrogs will be here in time, doing that damage over time to eliminate all of the cryocopters. And now that the cryocopters are gone, it's a matter of just rotating the big tanks to the front lines for the crushes as bears get the roar off, and Chris crushes that army by himself. At the same time, backwards, XOUTH going to be able to crush through the base of YuNo. And YuNo, I don't know that YuNo will actually be in this game for too much longer, as the entire base of YuNo gets pretty much eliminated here. Chris, on the other hand, holding his own in the north, killing off ANF almost single-handedly, fighting against cryocopters and the combined forces of 9track and ANF. Chris crushing through with the power of the Soviet motherland, gets the kill on the MCV. Actually, the kill goes to that Chopper VX, letting YuNo have a little bit of the glory there, a little bit of the praise for killing off that MCV. Double Tengu harass with 3 Tengus on these 2 harvesters as XOUTH is trying to make something happen against Chris, but Chris's army is already out here on the map. Chris's army is already here tearing up everything that ANF has. Chris, truly the hero of our team on the right side. Somebody even froze his harvester, but he just doesn't care, as it looks like an Athena cannon is actually going to blast down that refinery anyway. So 9track with the revenge against Chris, crushing through. ANF has been defeated. Cryocopters for 9track going to be coming in. A couple of hammer tanks do get frozen off, and the bomb splitting going to be good enough, I assume, from 9track to kill off both of those hammer tanks. Very nicely done there by 9track. Where are your bullfrogs? They were back trying to kill off some Tengus, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but oh, Chris, his entire hammer tank army almost gets eliminated by 1 peacekeeper and a couple of cryocopters as the cryocopters all go down, but killing off that many hammer tanks was probably worth it to lose a couple of cryocopters in this situation. 2 refineries still not really doing anything, as they're actually doing the work of 1 refinery for 9track. So 9track, in theory, has a very solid economy, but it's slightly weaker than it should be, considering that he inherited ANF's refineries there. Chris now going to be turning north, trying to eliminate everything else that 9track has. And I mean, finishing off ANF's old infrastructure is definitely a good idea here, as 3 Apollos get eliminated there. These bullfrogs have been putting in serious work for Chris, as you guys can see. 2 of them fully heroic, 1 of them double vet. And this army of Chris, it's doing so much work. It's being so efficient over the course of this game. Chris also dropping a Tesla coil in the main base of YuNo, helping YuNo to survive harassment and attacks. Also a Tesla coil in his own main base, finally helping out himself, not just his allies, as Chris, the hero of our team on the right side, they're going to have a hard time actually finishing off 9track and XOUTH. And to be honest, 9track and XOUTH, I feel like now that they've kind of reset themselves, they've reformed their attack plan, which is make a lot of Tengus and then Tier 3 allied stuff. That's my attack plan. They mostly just have to contend with Chris. I love this move from Shy, trying to sneak out a couple of Yari mini-subs and then just going for anything that's out on the water. If you can kill off a couple of units and refineries here and there with your Yaris when no one's looking, then that is pretty much always going to be worth it. Also, power plants, yeah, out on the water, able to clean up some of that stuff. Shy going for a bit of Tengu harass. It's not quite going to work out as he would have hoped because of the Tengus of XOUTH, but XOUTH's Tengus aren't actually doing anything. They're a little bit inactive there, as they're not actually killing off or defending 9track's stuff. They're not killing off those Tengus. Big cryo moves coming in here from 9track, and 9track cleaning up a mecha bay and something else as well. I wasn't totally paying attention, but 9track, he's been putting out some serious work all over the map. He was defending ANF in the north for a long time. His cryocopters have been doing so much work in this game overall that 9track has been really keeping his team on the left side. With a strong presence, like in the middle of the map. He's got a lot of strength and a lot of actual punching ability. XOUTH has been doing his part as well, but he hasn't been necessarily having the big wins that 9-track has been having. Big Tengu Cloud goes for the transform and going to be killing off the naval yard of XYHC, so unfortunately for XYHC, he's having a hard time actually getting any production facilities up and running. I think he's trying to go for Shogun battleships, as he's got another naval yard out. He's got his tier 3 going on. He's trying to get up to that point where he can have that tier 3 army out on the water, which I guess is just called a tier 3 navy. YuNo with the mass harvesters. Oh, YuNo has actually no production facilities. So in this case, it's Mimi to build harvesters and to stay in the game that way, but it's typically actually better to just put the harvesters into refineries and then just leave the game and then hope that you go, like, all of your money goes to Chris or something, and then Chris could even drop a crusher crane and redeem those existing harvesters for a little bit of cash. Big Tengu Swarm transforms on top of Chris's MCV, and Chris is not going to be able to save it. The Emperor's Rage going to be adding so much power to this army, and a couple of bullfrogs step forward. They get eliminated there as this Tesla coil doing shot after shot, taking down Tengu after Tengu, but it is not enough. And the harvesters going for the kill on this Mirage Tech. They aren't quite gonna get it. Oh, that's so sad. I was really hoping that like 6 harvester hit squad would be able to clean up that Mirage tank and be the heroes that we all want them to be. Mirage tanks and Athena cannons joining forces for 9-track to finally kill off XYHC. Here in the south, XYHC, he's been struggling to get anything done in this game for a long time, and he had this grand plan of, I think, a tier 3 naval yard, and I think it just is not going to be working out for him. Although, technically, his nanotech mainframe, it's still here. He could still make it happen. The dream is still alive. It's still here. One Athena cannon and the War Factory get eliminated. Chris, with a giant hammer tank army, going to be hunting the MCV of 9-track, and 9-track having to cut and run with his tier 3 MCV may actually find it hard-pressed to actually stay alive for too much longer. One airfield going to be going down, but it's going to be a big Tengu swarm harass, and the hammer tanks could actually win against the Tengus. The honorable discharge may be the thing that saves the Tengus from being totally irrelevant in this game, as they do some big damage to those hammer tanks. The hammer tanks going to still press forward. The numbers are good enough. The split was good enough from Chris to not die to the honorable discharge of those Tengus, but a second swarm of Tengus going to be coming in. Chris needs to make sure that he doesn't get caught and destroyed as he's eliminating those Tengus. 2 Tengus go down. A third almost gets eliminated, and the bullfrogs are actually going to be the target of those Tengus. One more hammer tank leading in from the rear here, coming in for reinforcements, pretty much gets eliminated by the Tengus as they're trying to close in on these other hammer tanks. Emperor's Rage also factoring into the damage output of those Tengus, and it looks like everything from 9-track in his original main base has pretty much been cleaned up. He's got a command post on the way as that hub is transformed. One tsunami tank down, just a random tsunami tank from XOUTH trying to join up with these Tengus against the hammer tanks of Chris. And Chris, as long as he can keep his distance... Oh, never mind. You don't want to keep your distance from this Chopper VX because you can't actually shoot it. As 2 Chopper VXs show up for XOUTH after all of the bullfrogs have been eliminated, these hammer tanks have no way of stopping these choppers. And unfortunately for Chris, he may be watching the slow death of his advanced, upgraded army, as he's got nothing to stop this chopper. 3 Chopper VXs, and all of these... Ooh, Infect of that MCV gets the kill, and man, these hammer tanks have actually done some serious damage, all things considered. This game... 9-track is out of it, but not technically, because he still has an airfield. The hammer tanks all get eliminated, but XOUTH is like the only one in this game. And the dream is alive! The nanotech mainframe, it didn't get destroyed, and the tier 3 naval yards were actually up and running for XYHC. After being dormant in this game for so long, he's coming back with an incredibly strong play. He's got the Shogun battleships out on the map. killing off the refineries of XOUTH, and XOUTH is going to have basically nothing left. And once this building for 9-track goes down, I think that's pretty much it. He's got a refinery up there. He's got a command hub here. But I think that's pretty much it. He's got no other production facilities, so he can't get back in this game. Chris also just has a refinery. Wow, so this is pretty much it. 9-track has been defeated. It's all up to XOUTH. XOUTH, whose MCV is somewhere, I think. I don't know where his MCV went. Okay, it's here. He's trying to get out refineries. He doesn't actually need refineries now that he's got 9-track's refineries. Or 9-track's refinery? Refinery and an oil derrick, I think, is the only thing that 9-track had. XOUTH is trying to split out some refineries to get some kind of eco into the game. Chris has been defeated. Chris's stuff gets handed over to YuNo, and now YuNo has been defeated, so it all comes down to XYHC, who actually has 2 naval yards and could actually produce an MCV and get himself fully back in this game. He's got a couple of refineries. He's got sea wings to clear the skies as the Chopper VXs, the Vindicators, and the Apollos all go down. Oh, XOUTH. You thought you were so powerful, but you have been destroyed. Poor XOUTH. XOUTH has been defeated, and XYHC comes back. Oh my gosh. XYHC comes back with the win for his team. And that is why you don't count out a player. Oh man, they were so close to killing off his tier 3 as well. They were in his base. I think it was XOUTH. XOUTH was in his base with like tsunami tanks or something, but he didn't have the time, or he thought he needed his forces elsewhere. But you gotta pour one out for Chris, man. Chris doing so much damage in his game. Even after he lost all of those bullfrogs, he just had hammer tanks running around the map. That was a sick game. He did so much damage with those hammer tanks when they literally couldn't defeat the stuff that was killing them. Like, what are you going to do? Yeesh. That will do it for that game. We have got some more team action to get to. That was a sick game. Great work from Chris there. All right, that was game number 3. We're almost halfway through our matches. We've got 8 replays today. We've gone through 3 of them. These ones are from July, so these replays, they've been around for a minute. All right, welcome back to Magmageddon for game number 4 in the subscriber replay cast. In the top left-hand corner, as the orange allies, it's KingKonG. In the middle, as the blue allies, it's Andrey. And in the south, as the green allies, it's Happy. Happy, as we recently learned from an interview over on red3.org, the Game Replays Red Alert 3 section. Happy is, I believe, from Saudi Arabia. There were some people who were asking if he is the Russian? The StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 player, Happy, who I believe is Russian. But no, this is not. He's, I believe he's from Saudi Arabia. Oh, no, that might be wrong. I might be getting his country wrong. Anyways, there was a little interview with Happy over on Game Replays on the Red Alert 3 section. So, if you want to read some stuff from Happy, you can do that over there. Anyways, in the top right-hand corner, as the red allies, it's ASDF. Well, that's 4 allies player. As the yellow allies, it's IsMaiL. And in the south, as the purple empire, it's SaLeeN. Oh, boy. So this is going to be a game. I think KingKonG normally plays empire, but in this case, he's playing allies. So, this is 5 allied players and 1 empire player. So this is going to be quite a match one way or the other. ASDF and IsMaiL going to be joining forces and pressuring KingKonG up in the north, but of course everyone is allies, so everyone can drop multi-gunner turrets in each other's bases, and of course Peacekeeper jumping inside of there will be a powerful anti-infantry weapon. SaLeeN, our one Empire player, trying to cause problems for his opponents. Going to be grabbing a couple of different oil derricks. Andrey moving around with that Riptide. What has Andrey got up his sleeve? Nobody knows, and everybody wonders. No third refinery. Maybe he's going for the fourth refinery, like the aggressive fourth refinery location? Andrey. What are you doing, Andrey? What is inside of these Riptides, Andrey? Andrey's being a sneaky, sneaky boy. Riptides and Peacekeepers from KingKonG versus Riptides and Peacekeepers from ASDF. But also a multi-gunner turret right here on the front lines as ASDF has moved up his MCV into a pretty aggressive position. This is not a casual, I'm going to capture a third refinery and get my economy rocking and rolling kind of a position. This is a, I'm going to try and turret push and end this game real quick position. Andrey with a couple of Javelin Troopers inside of these Riptides going to be dancing with these Tengus. They're doing a bit of a tango with the Tengus and actually going to be pushing back. The combination of Andrey and Happy is a powerful team. I mean, these two guys are great in 1v1s, but as a team, they can definitely both bring the heat, and when you've got two players who are both really good attacking you constantly, especially with an Assault Destroyer getting in on the mix, crushing those walls, crushing your harvesters, SaLeeN is going to have a hard time busting out of this game. Reinforcements going to be coming in from IsMaiL, and by reinforcements I really mean one Vindicator and a multi-gunner turret, as IsMaiL is trying to do something to help out his buddy in the south. KingKonG in the north going to be trying to hold his own against the combined forces of ASDF and IsMaiL, and for now he's going to be doing okay as those guys aren't actually attacking. Refineries getting targeted down just as the Harvester comes back online. Always frustrating when that happens. SaLeeN going to be getting the kill on a couple of Javelin Troopers with the Tengus, but it's not necessarily going to be enough. Triple multi-gunner turret from ASDF and IsMaiL going to be keeping SaLeeN alive for the current moment as they get targeted down by the Javelin Troopers of Andrey, but Andrey losing a couple of the Javelin Troopers, having to jump inside of that Riptide, and it's going to be multi-gunner turret versus multi-gunner turret, but of course the Javelin Troopers from Andrey going to be breaking the lock and breaking the hold that ASDF and IsMaiL have in the defense of their buddy. Another multi-gunner turret goes down for Andrey, but the Harvester crushes are amazing as they get a kill on a couple of those Javelin Troopers, and that stops the attack as Andrey is not able to push any further forward into the base of SaLeeN. A couple of Peacekeepers showing up from KingKonG, getting a kill with a Riptide on this refinery. So KingKonG going to be killing off one of IsMail's refineries, knocking IsMaiL back down to that 2-refinery starting economy. And it looks like ASDF and Andrey kind of fighting it out with these turrets over here as Andrey is trying to target down power plant after power plant. And he's doing what he can, but ultimately I think this attack is going to have to end as Andrey is going to, I think, have to turn his MCV around and head on home. KingKonG in the north with an Assault Destroyer. He's got that black hole armor rocking and rolling. He's going to try and fight against the Peacekeepers of his opponent. The multi-gunner turrets slowly going down on both sides as everyone in the world is building multi-gunner turrets and everyone in the world is killing multi-gunner turrets. Really, in this game, when you've got this many allied players, what you really need, you know, more than like resource collected, is you just need multi-gunner turrets built and multi-gunner turrets destroyed. Because at the end of this game, that is what I would like to know for each one of these players. Like Andrey, is Andrey going to build more multi-gunner turrets than anyone else? I would bet he is, but I'm not, you know, it may not be. Maybe someone else is going to build more multi-gunner turrets. Who knows? Up in the north, ASDF and IsMaiL still joining forces, and you know, coming out of that last game, don't count SaLeeN out. SaLeeN's got an MCV. He's got one refinery. Don't count him out. XYHC in that last game coming back for a great win for his team. And, you know, also XOUTH in that other game, a long, long time ago, it started out as a 3v3. I think it ended in a 1v2, or maybe briefly it was a 1v3, and XOUTH was just, like, controlling like crazy. He was going everywhere with 1,000,000 Sea-Wings, and he had this crazy Empire Navy. He was just, like, he was doing all kinds of stuff. So don't count out SaLeeN. If SaLeeN loses MCV, and maybe then we can start to count him out. But he's still got a barracks, you know. Keep hope alive and all that. Andrey totally setting up shop in the third base, or what really would be the natural expansion of SaLeeN. I do love this from IsMaiL, going to be able to get out the multi-gunner turret. Sells it off, though, as after he gets the harvester kill. Andrey trying to set up camp outside of SaLeeN's base, going for kind of a... this is a pretty hard contain. I was going to call this a soft contain, but it's a pretty hard contain when you've got 2 multi-gunner turrets and you've taken your opponent's natural expansion. That counts as a pretty hard contain against your opponent. SaLeeN with the tank busters busting out as much as he can. I mean, he's not actually fighting tanks, but he is indeed fighting multi-gunner turrets, which in this game are going to be more prolific than tanks. Riptide's KingKonG. This is how these games sometimes go. It's like we've got KingKonG in the north, he's kind of doing his own thing, and SaLeeN in the south is trying to do his own thing, but Andrey and Happy are kind of ganging up on SaLeeN in the south, and then in the north, ASDF and IsMaiL are kind of ganging up on KingKonG in the north. So it's this weird, like, kind of 2v1 situation on each side, but, you know, obviously IsMaiL is also here with SaLeeN fighting on these 2 different fronts. Cryo Shot pretty much misses everything, as Vindicator's going to be coming in for Happy to go for the kill on the multi-gunner turret, and then also go for the kill on some of these tank busters as well. Happy, with a multi-gunner IFV and a Peacekeeper inside of it, are going to cut through so many of these infantry forces of IsMaiL and SaLeeN, although SaLeeN, with a couple of tank busters, might be able to get the kill on the multi-gunner turret. No, the Vindicator's coming back in for Happy to go for the kills on all of the high damage output units that are here. Goodbye last couple of Peacekeepers, as IsMaiL is unable to break this lock that Happy and Andrey have on SaLeeN. SaLeeN back up to that 2 refinery economy, almost. Not quite there yet. He's been pumping out a lot of infantry. He's been trying to get back in the game in that sense, but he has not quite been able to get there. Yep. I love this. I love the Assault Destroyer with the point defense drones, just adding that little bit of armor on top. Does the, so Black Hole Armor gives you, like, an armor boost to the Assault Destroyer. Does that make the point defense drones also last longer, or are the point defense drones completely separate from? Like, point defense drones on a Tengu, would they take the same amount of damage as point defense drones on an Assault Destroyer with Black Hole Armor? Because if so, I guess that's mildly interesting. I guess that's the way it should work, is the point defense drones shouldn't be affected. EMP! Here we go, boys, as KingKonG is about to get knocked out by the EMP. As for the current moment, the Javelin Troopers and the Peacekeepers cut through those couple of Assault Destroyers. KingKonG going to be rushing forward, but the ASDF Assault Destroyer with the Black Hole Armor finally going to be doing something. As he gets up to the front line, he's going to be tanking a lot of damage, almost gets eliminated as he turns off the Black Hole Armor, and he's actually going to be able to absorb some of that cryo shot, but not all of it, as it gives enough time for ASDF to be able to escape. And at the current moment, Happy and Andrey still have not been able to break SaLeeN down here in the south. Happy hasn't taken, I think, any damage throughout this game. He's really just been playing his own game, doing whatever it is that he wants to do. And he's been rocking and rolling, but he hasn't been able to break SaLeeN just yet. I love the tech up to Tier 3 and going for this aircraft carrier by ASDF. That's a great way to try and break your opponent. And KingKonG, well, he's got an Assault Destroyer here, but it is not going to last very long. KingKonG may not be able to last very long, although Cryo Shot fires off. It disrupts the infantry front line, but it does not shut them down, as this Assault Destroyer and these infantry almost certainly going to be able to get kill on KingKonG's MCV, as KingKonG is going to have to run away from the front line. At the same time, IsMaiL and Andrey fighting toe-to-toe, face-to-face, as Andrey is encroaching upon the space of IsMaiL. And IsMaiL, with the hydrofoils and the weapons jammer, is going to be able to shut down both of those multi-gunner turrets, but he can't necessarily stop the assault that is Andrey. KingKonG losing in the north, but IsMaiL may be losing in the south, as an Assault Destroyer from Andrey walks his way into the main base of IsMaiL. He's like, I smell harvesters. Harvester's like, I'm out of here. He's like, bye. This is not in my contract. The Union says nothing about being crushed by an assault destroyer. That is not part of the job requirement. KingKonG has been defeated, hands everything over to Andrey, and anytime someone is defeated, you always got to look at what refineries remain, because this is 3 refineries, well, 2 working refineries, and an oil derrick that just got handed over to Andrey, and Andrey himself had, I think, 3 refineries and an oil derrick, 4 refineries and an oil derrick, so Andrey is now going to be absolutely rolling in the cash. Andrey is going to be in an insane powerhouse in this game. Happy crushing both of the refineries of SaLeeN, and this game looks like it's going to be over relatively soon here. The only real hope for our team on the right side is going to be ASDF, as SaLeeN is still in this game technically, but I think SaLeeN may have no MCV and no production facilities. Nope, there's the MCV. Never mind. Hope is alive, folks. Hope is alive. SaLeeN still can come back in this game. It is going to be remarkably difficult. Although I love this move from ASDF, cutting here through the middle of the map. And ASDF, after swinging through KingKonG's base, is actually going to be turning south and setting free IsMaiL. So if IsMaiL gets broken free, if Andrey gets pushed back, then IsMaiL may actually be able to rebuild over a little bit of time. Happy dropping a Spectrum Tower in the main base of IsMaiL, and not a lot of times do you see a Spectrum Tower get built at all, let alone in the main base of your opponent. I mean, they're a cool idea. Prism Towers still, I think, are a little bit cooler. But, you know, Spectrum Towers, not necessarily the end of the world. No, they're not as cool as Prism Towers, but they're okay. ASDF versus Happy. Assault Destroyer versus Assault Destroyer, and a whole bunch of infantry on the side of ASDF are actually going to be able to cut through these Assault Destroyers relatively quickly. Andrey is also going to be losing 2 more power plants, so Andrey is actually just getting totally manhandled by ASDF. ASDF continuing to power through and power forward for our team on the right side. Really, it's our team in the north, because it's ASDF doing almost all of the work himself. And he may actually be striking down a lot of the stuff from Andrey and Happy. He's able to clean up both of the refineries from KingKonG. KingKonG has now been almost completely, in terms of the stuff that KingKonG had when he left the game, has been almost completely knocked out of this game. Everything that KingKonG built, it looks like, has pretty much been destroyed. And that means Andrey isn't really getting any real benefit from any of that stuff. And ASDF is continuing to march forward, continuing to crush on through with his giant infantry army, with his sneaky aircraft carrier out here on the water, completely uncontested by the forces of Andrey and Happy. Andrey and Happy still technically haven't been able to kill anyone. IsMaiL and SaLeeN have been almost dead for a long time, but technically they have not been able to kill anyone. ASDF completely dodges that cryo blast, cryogeddon, whichever one it was, as it fires off and it catches a javelin trooper and a peacekeeper, both of which are heroic, but those aren't really the big wins, the big catches that you are hoping to get with your cryo shot. SaLeeN's MCV still trying to find something to do, trying to find some kind of an angle to stay in this game, and SaLeeN rebuilding this refinery, rebuilding this harvester rather, might even be forced to sell off some of these wall segments to get enough cash to make that happen, as that harvester is really the only hope for SaLeeN to get back in this game, unless he's got a whole bunch of cash sitting in the bank. ASDF continuing to power forward with the aircraft carriers, has pretty much eliminated everything on land. Could go after these refineries over here. They've got a couple of grand left in them. And ASDF here in the middle of the map, moving forward with his Peacekeeper army, his Athena cannons, and his Mirage tanks. He cuts through the forces of Happy and ASDF. Oh, second refinery out here from SaLeeN. I don't know how he actually snuck that one out from his MCV, which has been surrounded by enemy forces for most of this game. But he's got a naval yard. He's got 2 refineries and a naval yard. That is enough for anyone to make a difference in this game. We'll see if he actually does make a difference, but in theory, that's enough for him to make a difference. Andrey and Happy both scattered and having a difficult time joining up their forces to actually strike back against ASDF, as ASDF has been just untouched for the last couple of minutes of this game. I think that was a spy that grabbed this aircraft carrier. I'm not exactly sure what happened here, but a great move by Happy. If he just ran a spy into the base of ASDF and grabbed this aircraft carrier, that is a great move by Happy. That's a classic kind of an allied sneaky move with those spies to just turn around a game by stealing one of your opponent's units. ASDF with the giant freeze. So much stuff from Happy, and Andrey just gets destroyed as ASDF continues to power forward, almost completely uncontested. I mean, there were like 2 shots fired on the side of Andrey and Happy. They have not been able to do very much in the last couple of minutes against the army of ASDF. And I love the attempt of the aircraft carrier, which is now back under the control of ASDF. I'm not sure what happened there. Did he get his own spy to bribe that aircraft carrier? What even happened? I'm not sure what happened with this aircraft carrier and with the control of it, but if that is even the same aircraft carrier. This aircraft carrier over here on the left side going to be finally making his way down south to kill off the refineries of Happy. And Happy going to be dealing with a bit of a tank buster surprise as even the Harvester ends up going down, and the tank buster for surprise from SaLeeN doing some good work. IsMaiL is back in the game, ladies and gentlemen, as his assault destroyer is going to be killing off the MCV of Andrey. Andrey forced to run onto land to try and get his peacekeepers to help out and keep this MCV alive. Unfortunately, Cryogeddon actually going to be firing off by IsMaiL. He gets the freeze on almost everything, and the MCV itself almost gets frozen as it gets slowed down. It's taking so much damage, and SaLeeN with the hero tsunami tanks going to be finishing off that MCV with the help of IsMaiL. Our team on the right side joining together in spectacular fashion. That's a level 3 MCV that I think got engineer capped by Andrey. Andrey with the mega plays in this game, fighting to the last man and rocket to try and survive in this match. It's not going to work out as ASDF and Happy got a couple of barracks here on the front line, and ASDF is having to fight against 4 barracks at the same time. It's just riptides shooting down infantry from Happy and Andrey. Cryogeddon fires off as SaLeeN shows up with a couple of tsunami tanks. IsMaiL also trying to get in on the action. IsMaiL trying to reclaim the MCV of his ally / his opponent, as Andrey was the one who stole that. Nevercheese, aka Andrey, and Happy have both been defeated, and our team on the right side, technically with all 3 players still in the game, which in a different game would be like a dominant performance. But in this game, ASDF really pulling his weight, doing a lot in this match, and that will do it. What a match from these guys. KingKonG with a little bit of an early exit, but the rest of everybody with a great performance. And I have to feel a little bit bad for KingKonG. Getting knocked out of that game a little early, but everyone else fighting until the bitter end. And unfortunately, Andrey and Happy, who looked really well poised to knock out SaLeeN and IsMaiL, and then they would have had to have just dealt with ASDF, but they never were actually able to kill them off. And in the end, IsMaiL and SaLeeN were both able to very long term rebuild a little bit of stuff, and that little bit of stuff helped break Andrey and Happy. And that will do it for this 3v3. And we have got some more Riddler 3 action coming up just after this. That was a great game. These are definitely some good replays. Even that second one on Infinity Isle is like, that was not a good game in a lot of senses, but that was an entertaining match to watch. And I'm glad that I downloaded that one from Game Replays, and that we got to enjoy that. I'm going to take a quick beverage break. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I hope you guys have been enjoying this action and these games. Waff the Wolf showing up. Waff the Wolf, are you actually going to be playing any Red Alert 3 for maybe the Christmas concert? Not Christmas concert, the Christmas tournament. Or are you going to be not joining us for the Christmas tournament? You should. You should jump online, play some games. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a spy there. I wasn't intentionally going away from the spy. Yeah, this was a fairly old replay. 6 months old or something. Was Waff the Wolf playing WoW? Is that what he's been doing recently? Been playing that World of Warcraft? That's no good. All right, we've got... Okay, this is another 3v3. We also have an FFA on Magma coming up at some point, but it looks like that is not this. Welcome back to Magmageddon. As we're gonna look at how janky this lava is. It just makes like a right angle. It makes a 90-degree turn almost, and just falls straight down. Oh, this one also. This one's like jutting out from the geometry of the rocks. Other than that, there should be more magma. There should be more magma around the map. Obviously there's some, but there should be more. There's some over here. In the top left-hand corner, making up our team number 1 as the Yellow Soviets, it's Obrub. Brub. That's what that guy is. In the middle as the Blue Allies, it's KingKonG. And in the south as the Purple Empire, it's SaLeeN. Making up team number 2 as the Green Allies, it's ASDF, the hero from the last game. In the middle as the Orange Allies, it's IsMaiL. And in the south, making a return from game number 1 of this stream, it's PavelSuperstar. Oh, SaLeeN. SaLeeN going for the classic dojo core drop, where you try and get a dojo into your opponent's base. 1 in like every 1,000 games, it actually does work, and the dojo core drop does something. But other than that, like, everybody is pretty familiar with it. Everybody pretty much knows how to deal with it and how to eliminate it. And they also all know that it's coming. So you always look out for it, and every once in a while it does something. Usually it's against bad players like me. Yeah, if you play against me, you should probably just dojo core rush me, and there's a good chance you'll win to that. You'll win with that. But other than that, players who actually are better than the worst, then yeah, it doesn't quite work versus them. So Obrub, KingKonG, and SaLeeN, a perfect distribution of factions. 1 Soviet, 1 Allies, 1 Empire. And IsMaiL over here in the main base of Obrub, he's going to be targeting down the war factory, and he is not going to get at the reactor. The body block from the reactor breaks enough of the laser locks. I think they're spread out now that 1 single building won't save that war factory. So that is very unfortunate there for Obrub. Pour one out for him, boys, as he is not having a good game. He's got a couple of Riptides, Javelin Troopers in his base, killing off his war factory, causing him so many problems. KingKonG showing up with both the Barracks and the Riptide to try and do something to stand against the forces of his opponents. And Obrub going for the crush, gets 2 Riptides. I think one of them had a bunch of Javelin Troopers inside of it, so that is actually going to be great value as IsMaiL loses so many of those forces at the same time. Where did this refinery go? I swear there used to be a refinery here. IsMaiL, I think, used to own a refinery, and it was in that position. It looks like KingKonG able to get some serious damage into the main base of IsMaiL. Couple of tsunami tanks going to be attacking an oil derrick, and PavelSuperstar going to be killing off an oil derrick, although no, it looks like the Tengu is going to save that. So SaLeeN will be able to save his own oil derrick. Very nicely done there by SaLeeN. Won't be losing it to the flak trooper. Gets the kill on that oil derrick. Was that a Vindicator killing something? I don't know what that Vindicator was doing, but it was killing something. Flew all the way down to the south of the map to get a kill on, like a terror drone or a dog or a bear. SaLeeN now going to be targeting down the MCV of PavelSuperstar, and Pavel is going to have to run for the hills as the tsunami tanks then kill the wall segment. Like, one of the most important units / structures in the game, the MCV, and they're like, no, kill the wall segment first. But, of course, that's just the auto attack doing its thing. Couple of Stingrays are going to get eaten up by these tsunami tanks. Stingrays do not bode well against tsunami tanks. Actually, one tsunami tank did get eliminated there, but a couple of barracks going to be coming down as ASDF and IsMaiL both going to be going for the defense of Pavel's MCV, and 5 tsunami tanks still here, but 4 Vindicators show up and pretty much shut this attack down. At the same time, ASDF drops a multi-gunner turret to try and go for a little bit of extra defense and a little bit of saving of PavelSuperstar's MCV. A Kula sub for Pavel going to be going for a little bit of harass on SaLeeN's water expansion there on the left side of the map. Terror drones going to be infecting some of ASDF's units and also his prospector up here in the north, but he may actually be able to drive all the way down to that war factory and get the save on this prospector. That's a lot of lost mining time, but the prospector won't have to be rebuilt, and no, it barely doesn't make it. Killing off the terror drone is nice, but not necessarily a big deal considering that the repairs are right there, and the terror drone would have died anyways if it had infected. A couple of tsunami tanks kill off another Stingray, and Pavel is having a hard time getting anything going on. It's good that he's got a little bit of infrastructure up here in the north, so his Tier 2, his super reactor, is not under threat of being eliminated down here in his main base or his natural expansion, as SaLeeN is kind of on the wrong side of the map with his MCV hanging out near the main base of PavelSuperstar. KingKonG in the middle of the map going to be pressing forward with a little bit of a parade push of infantry crossing the map from his double racks back by his natural expansion. Multi-gunner turrets being built in mass in the north as ASDF and KingKonG kind of trade blows with each other. ASDF trying to knock out Obrub, and we'll have to see if it really works this time, as this is going to be sort of attempt number 2 for ASDF to knock out Obrub. And it's a couple of Guardian tanks and some multi-gunner turrets and some Peacekeepers. So there's a lot of firepower in this allied force, but it shouldn't necessarily be a game-ending force, although they are definitely going to get this refinery, which is definitely nice. Cutting off that 4th refinery of your opponent. He's still got 3 refineries and an oil derrick. In the south, ASDF is, well, he's dropping all kinds of stuff trying to help out PavelSuperstar. SaLeeN able to kill off this refinery, stop the airfield from doing anything else in this game, and PavelSuperstar is not feeling much like a superstar in this game. Ooh, Obrub. The super reactor is going to be going down. He's forced to sell it off. He gets a little bit of cash back for it, and the hammer tank doesn't even get any crushes. Forced to sell off the war factory and the barracks as well as Obrub. He's having a bit of a difficult time actually staying in this game in a relevant way. He's just not been able to do very much at all. ASDF and KingKonG really been both kind of powerhouse players in this match in terms of actually units out on the field doing something. Although, as I say, that KingKonG is about to get knocked back from this expansion by potentially just a couple of multi-gunner turrets from ASDF and IsMaiL. Vindicator's going to be coming in for ASDF. Go for the kill on one IFV, and what else? Okay, they're going to be going for that war factory as they were just kind of flying around in a little bit of a weird pattern. Goodbye refinery does get sold off there just to stop it from being eliminated. ASDF turns his infantry army south. He stops attacking Obrub, and he goes south to try and attack KingKonG, and this may actually be a good meeting up of the forces. If IsMaiL and ASDF are able to coordinate their attacks, they could knock KingKonG back a peg or two and potentially even out of this game. Although in the south, SaLeeN is continuing to make life difficult for PavelSuperstar. The MCV has been pulled back, and the Tier 2 army of our Empire player grows by the minute. Back in the middle of the map, KingKonG, his MCV is on the move, his MCV is on the run, as this is not a army-crushing MCV to try and get the kill on this army and stop the attack. SaLeeN is going to have to be the one potentially to come in and save KingKonG from the forces of ASDF as KingKonG runs out onto the water, trying to make use of the geography of this map to escape the forces of ASDF. Big transform as the MCV for PavelSuperstar also comes in to get in on the action and join the forces of ASDF against the Empire forces of SaLeeN, as the transform of the Tengus cleans up a chunk of the infantry, but does not stop this attack from ASDF and IsMaiL. Now turning further south and continuing to chase the forces of KingKonG and SaLeeN as they corner them a little bit here. KingKonG's MCV narrowly escaping the retribution of ASDF and, well, the MCV of PavelSuperstar, who kind of comically has just been driving along with all of these forces, all of these units that can actually attack. He's like, yes, I'm doing something, I swear I'm doing something, but he does not stop these Guardian tanks from getting crushed. The MCV of SaLeeN gets the crush on the Guardian tanks, allowing the Tsunami tanks to be relatively unharmed and to be relatively untouched. Are these Tsunami tanks going to save the MCV? One Tsunami tank comes in with those nano deflectors activated, gets a crush on some infantry, but not as many of these Javelin troopers going down as SaLeeN would like, and most of the forces have been eliminated, but SaLeeN is not totally out of the woods yet. Pavel going to be losing his MCV. It gets eliminated there, and now SaLeeN gets the kill on the engineer. SaLeeN has pushed back the forces of ASDF and technically the forces of PavelSuperstar. And Pavel, he's got his naval yard, he's got a little bit of economy rolling, he's got his tier 2 as well, so he is still in this thing. He just doesn't have a lot going on. He's got a little going on. He's got a barracks, he's got a naval yard, he can rebuild his MCV technically. He doesn't actually have any income, so he may be out of this game. I guess he could get a harvester if he sells off this stuff here. He could get a harvester, and then he could build his MCV over time, and sell off all of the wall segments and try and get back into the game that way. ASDF now going to be targeting down KingKonG's original main base with his Guardian tanks, trying to cut through KingKonG's main and maybe force KingKonG out of this game, but KingKonG has kind of rebuilt himself here in the middle of the map. IsMaiL getting a kill on SaLeeN's Tsunami tanks there. Obrub, who took a lot of damage early on, has actually kind of rebuilt out here on the water. He's got a refinery, he's got tier 2 naval yard and an airfield all out there on the water. So he's been slowly but surely rebuilding, and we've seen this in many team games in the past where someone gets absolutely beaten almost to an inch of death, and then they come back, they get 5 or 10 minutes to sit by themselves to rebuild slowly from like a one refinery economy, and they just rebuild slowly, and they don't really take any fights until, they've got some Twin Frog up, they've got their tier 2 established, and they're actually a threat in the game again. And that's exactly what happened to Obrub. KingKonG losing his main base. He's got a power plant and a command hub down here. I don't think KingKonG has actually any active income left in this game. He desperately needs to get up a refinery. He needs to get something working for him. Otherwise, KingKonG is not really going to be contributing very much to this game. PavelSuperstar has been defeated as IsMaiL takes over all of his Soviet stuff. And I mean, again, this means IsMaiL technically has access to a Soviet MCV down here at the naval yard, but I don't think IsMaiL will really be too worried about rebuilding an MCV and trying to come back into the game with both tech trees under his command. I think he's probably just going to be focusing on his allied stuff. And honestly, IsMaiL doesn't have a whole lot going on. He's got like 3, maybe 4 refineries, plus this refinery down here, but I don't know how many production facilities IsMaiL actually has. I'm trying to find anything that IsMaiL has, to build actual units and do anything in this game, but I'm not really seeing all that much. SaLeeN once again coming in with a couple of tsunami tanks, going to be trying to punch down the old main base of PavelSuperstar, and this is like 5 or 6 tsunami tanks, so he has a lot of damage output, but is he actually going to be able to finish off IsMaiL and the original main base of PavelSuperstar? These couple of tsunami tanks just sitting around not doing anything. They had that the nano deflectors activated, so they couldn't actually attack anything, but they also weren't going for any kind of crushes. The multi-gunner turret also going to try and get in on the action, and this naval yard could be targeted down by IsMaiL, and this is honestly a good move by him to try and knock IsMaiL out of this game. SaLeeN may be able to... No, the MCV does get out. Great call there by IsMaiL. As again, I think IsMaiL doesn't have any actual production facilities anywhere else on the map, so his only chance to get back in this game is to rebuild as a Soviet player with PavelSuperstar's old stuff. And the naval yard survives a slight bit longer, but this is going to be it for that naval yard. So I hope IsMaiL has enough cash in the bank to do something. Although I guess it is nice he's already got a super reactor, so he's got lots of Soviet stuff. KingKonG with the big freeze. He drops the barracks near the main base of IsMaiL, and this Peacekeeper is going to do some insane damage, forcing the sell-off of a power plant. He gets the kill on the refinery, and the barracks of the Soviet player is the only thing left, which I guess technically IsMaiL is the Soviet player. IsMaiL almost has more going on with the Soviet part of this game than he does have going on with the Allied part of this game. He's got a couple of Allied power plants and like an Allied refinery, but he's got a super reactor from Soviets and a Soviet MCV. He's kind of turning around which side he actually fights for in this faction war. ASDF moving forward in the north. He's realized that Obrub has been able to rebuild pretty significantly in this game, and that does not sit well with ASDF. ASDF also going to be taking a little bit of damage from the toxins in the top right-hand corner of the map. And this super reactor may actually be going down to the Peacekeeper forces of KingKonG. Okay, there he kills off the... And that will actually do it. ASDF and IsMaiL have both been defeated. KingKonG killing off that super reactor at the last possible second, pretty much. And that will do it for this 3v3. As ASDF really doing a lot in that game, but ultimately... Our team on the left side, Obrub, KingKonG, and SaLeeN able to pull it back. And KingKonG, he definitely was not giving up in that game. He got beaten back. He got almost knocked out of the game. But then with some sneaky plays, he knocked out IsMail's economy. And in the south, SaLeeN was knocking out the rest of the economy of IsMail. And that pretty much just left ASDF in this game. And that was not enough. That'll do it for a 3v3. We have got some more Red Alert 3 action coming your way. That was a pretty good. That was a pretty good match. A lot of silly stuff happening in that game. Ooh, I've got to change that. There we go. Obrubshik. That was almost his name. I thought his name was spelled a little different. Edvin says he wants to see Sub-Zero Hour. Send me a replay on Sub-Zero Hour that's good. There are not a lot of good replays on Sub-Zero Hour, but send me some Sub-Zero Hour replays. There have to be some, right? Also, Edvin, this goes out to you. If you want to go for some other casting live. No, these are replays. These are not casting live. But Edvin, if you want to go for some other maps that aren't the like standard 8 or 9 maps that we see, the 7 1v1 maps, Pool Party, Hostile, and then Magmageddon. If you want to do something else, that would be great. If you want to play some 1v1s on some alternate maps. Blind Honor, you too. Actually, I'm thinking of KingKonG. KingKonG sent me that replay of him versus somebody on it was a map that Das Dulon designed actually, which was pretty great. But it was that like island map. It had kind of a city in the middle, and it was like a nighttime aesthetic. But yeah, Definitely play some games on alternate maps, on the maps that we've seen a million games on, and then send me those replays. By the way, we have 3 more games to cast in this series, in this day, as we come in on the second hour. We've had some wonkiness. I know there were some dropped frames at some point as the frame rate tanked a little bit, but other than that, it's been a good day of games. As sometimes when people email me replays, they're like, "Hey, it's me and 2 AI versus 3 other AI," and you're like, "No, I don't really want to watch that." But the replays today have been so good, like so many tight games, so many turnarounds, so many back and forths. There haven't been a lot of one-way smashes where it's like, Demon was asleep and I killed his MCV and then I won the game. And it's like, that's also not a good game. So, good day of games, all things considered. But we have got something quite special. This is also from July, but we have an FFA to get through. We have a free-for-all featuring 6 players, and you will never guess the map. Try in a million years to guess. Try to guess the map. We will find out. It's a map that you would never expect to have 6 players on. Welcome to Magmageddon for a 6-player FFA. In the top left-hand corner, as the Red Empire, he's been playing a bit of everything. It's GoDofWaR. In the middle, as the Cyan allies, it's Berat, and in the south, as the Orange Empire, it's EsperZ. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but EsperZ. And in the top right-hand corner, as the Blue Empire, it's not KingKonG, it's karaali. And in the middle, who just got defeated, crashing out of the game as the Green Allies, it's A&F. So already down to a 5-player FFA. In the bottom right-hand corner, as the Yellow Allies, it's srxl. srxl? I don't know. srxl? Extra large, maybe? SR Super Reactor. Extra large Super Reactor, which is like a super duper reactor. So in the bottom right-hand corner, as the Yellow Allies, it's Super Duper. That's his new name. That's how we get there. All right, so in FFA, obviously anything can happen, and like we see in lots of FFAs, it's not about the players who look giant at any one moment. It's not necessarily about the player who is the furthest ahead on the tech tree at any one moment, because we oftentimes get games where there are 2 players who are powerhouse players, and they knock heads, and then they are both almost defeated, and a third player who's been kind of sitting back for the last couple of minutes comes through and just steamrolls everybody at the last possible second. Although sometimes we do see games where it's just like a steamroll from the beginning, and it's one player is clearly better, and everyone else is sort of infighting, and one player just sweeps around the map and pretty much eliminates everyone one by one. Who knows? A&F, though, we know he's not going to win. Although I guess this does give a pretty big advantage to Super Duper and to karaali. Karaali and Super Duper both have an empty spot next to them that they can either expand into, or even if you do nothing with that space, you're just not getting attacked from that direction. Whereas Berat is surrounded by enemies, and, well, I guess EsperZ and in the north, GoDofWaR are also kind of surrounded. But you have a little bit more space left to right than you do north to south. At least it feels that way. I guess I've never actually drawn out the distances, so I don't know, but it seems that way. Vindicator from Super Duper gets eliminated, and the Apollo takes a little bit of damage. Trying to tango with 4 Tengus above a Mecha Bay is never going to work out. I mean, if you're one Apollo, you can take on 80 Tengus in a different context, but Tengus with repairs? Not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. 3 refineries up and running for karaali. And, well, same thing for GoDofWaR. He's got his 3rd refinery up and running. He's got that oil derrick as well. Oil derrick's coming online. Always nice to have. Berat going for the scout. I don't know if you guys noticed this a little bit early on, but these dogs for Berat, they've been going everywhere on the map. He's been scouting. He's been keeping an eye on everything with everyone, with that Apollo as well. GoDofWaR going to be trying to He's not going to save his harvester. He saves his harvester! Oh my gosh, that dolphin dies. I thought the defender core was going to get there just a moment too late, but he saves the harvester. Oh my gosh, that harvester is a hero among men. I mean, this dog just about could sneeze and he could blow this harvester apart, but the game code does not support sneezing. The Red Alert 3 devs were anti-sneezing in this case, and the naval yard is going to come down, so the Tengus with the defender core and the naval yard may actually save this harvester from this one dolphin, which is going to try and come in here for berat and kill off this one harvester. Never have I been so invested in whether or not this one harvester survives as this right now. No, he's not going to save it. He doesn't save it. Berat gets the kill, and the dolphin gets the escape. GoDofWaR, why? You monster, why did you let this happen? Anyways, other stuff going on. It looks like Super Duper's still trying to make something happen with this Apollo. This one Apollo, it's fighting so many Tengus. It's so brave, but it's so stupid at the same time. Why would you fight that many Apollos? Super Duper not expanding to the north. I don't know if that's because he just doesn't realize that ANF was the one who spawned next to him. But Berat, it looks like Berat has a good idea that ANF is gone, and so he knows that there's an empty space over there in the middle of the map directly across from him. Up to Tier 2 with his MCV is Berat. Berat going to be taking 2 additional expansions in the middle of the map, going to be getting himself up to 5 refineries and an oil derrick, of course, with a single harvester kill to his name as well. And Berat, if Berat walks across the map and takes these 3 expansions as well, maybe even these 4 expansions, he will be in some serious cash. He will have so much money to his name to do so much with in this game. He's got the airfield also on the way, but it's a little bit too far away from his Tier 2 MCV for him to produce any cryocopters with it. He's going to start attacking GoDofWaR. I don't know that that's the best idea. GoDofWaR may actually have gone just directly across to attack karaali and to try and knock out this Empire player, who's actually going straight into Tier 3. This is another thing that we sometimes see in these FFAs, is one player tries to tech up very quickly, although going for 4 refineries first, it doesn't really count as, like, tech up very quickly. And I just mean that he hasn't really attacked, he hasn't done too much out on the map with his army before going for that potential Tier 3. So karaali is potentially going to have a very powerful Empire force running around the map relatively soon. And I don't know, King Oni's Wave Force Artillery, they might be able to take someone by surprise, maybe even some Shogun battleships out on the water, although at this point karaali has been almost entirely ground-focused. I guess ground and air, you know, if you want to count the Tengus, as they all transform with their point defense drones. Berat and GoDofWaR going to be duking it out. GoDofWaR splits off one single tsunami tank, but he doesn't quite get the crushes he was hoping for. He was hoping for all of the infantry to just stay all clumped up together and get a wonderful group of crushes. He sends a couple of strikers forward, which is a little bit of a mistake there. The tank buster's not really engaged in this fight. I don't know what the plan with the tank busters really is. You either need to get them attacking those Guardian tanks, or you need them not even to be constructed, and you just need more tsunami tanks, as GoDofWaR totally fumbles this attack and just gets absolutely demolished. He did okay at the end there, cleaning up a number of Guardian tanks at the last possible second. I think part of that may have actually been the honorable discharge getting some damage out, but that was not a great move there by GoDofWaR. I think he was hoping to do a lot more with that army than he actually got done. EsperZ has been defeated. Super Duper finally striking out with the Assault Destroyer. It's not his air forces that really got him the win in that case. It was his Super Duper Assault Destroyer. And then there were 4. I don't know how much we really want to count ANF as being into this game, considering that he crashed out at the very beginning. But Berat, this is what I want to see. Look at that great placement of the command hub. Bop, bop. 2 more refineries coming up for Berat relatively soon. He's got an oil derrick as well. Berat is rolling in the cash. He has got so many Guardian tanks. Again, I don't know. Ooh, Berat could be in a situation where he starts getting pummeled by both GoDofWaR and karaali at the same time. And, well, Super Duper would actually do well to expand south. Just keep expanding west take the entire southern half of the map, maybe expand out here to the east as well, and grab that grab that refinery out on the water, and then he'll have 4 extra refineries. He can build a gigantic allied army, and he can just steamroll potentially everybody. So definitely a couple of different ways this could go. GoDofWaR and karaali, I feel like they're either going to end up fighting each other or they're going to end up fighting berat, and then whichever one of them fights more of berat will be the one who loses first, because GoDofWaR and karaali are kind of in a potential duking match between each other where they can duke it out in the north. But if GoDofWaR becomes weak from fighting berat, then he'll just die when karaali comes in and sweeps through his main base with his giant Tier 2 Tengu chopper army. But we'll see. 2 refineries, 2 multi-gunner turrets. Decent coverage there by berat. Could also take this refinery here. Tank busters from GoDofWaR. They're up against peacekeepers, and that is never going to end well for the Empire player. Assault Destroyer with that black hole armor. He's just hanging out. And moving his MCV, so not even going the command hub expand route. He's doing the full-on MCV move. Super duper going to be taking 2 extra refineries. Hey, look at this refinery, completely untouched. That ore refinery, that ore mine is ripe for the taking. Berat going to be trying to defend on 2 different fronts, although I don't know that building 1 single multi-gunner turret really counts. And the cryo shot splits up the army of GoDofWaR. GoDofWaR selling off his refinery a little bit preemptively there, but that clears out that little area of the map, and at the same time, GoDofWaR was never going to win that fight to begin with, so you might as well sell off the buildings, get a little bit of cash back, and pull your army back to try and do something. But again, GoDofWaR's army has just been getting picked apart bit by bit for pretty much this entire game by berat. So now berat is just going to roll into the main base, and this is the moment where GoDofWaR is either going to survive out on the water with, like, 1 refinery, and he's just going to have 1 million ore collectors that he's coming back into this game with, or berat and karaali are going to just sweep through here and kill absolutely everything. In the north, the forces of GoDofWaR get eliminated by the chopper VXs of karaali, and on the ground, everything of GoDofWaR is going to get swept up by berat. So goodbye, GoDofWaR. He may be our 3rd player to fall in this FFA. And then karaali and berat will be duking it out. The MCV, it packs up. He's going to try and run for the water while the King Oni buys time. The bull rush, is it good? No, not really. The split is good enough. Oh, that was so disappointing. That bull rush looked like it was going to be amazing, and then it just went nowhere. As unfortunately for GoDofWaR, he has got almost nothing left. Well, now he's got literally nothing left on land, but he's got almost nothing left to his name. He's got a refinery. That's all you need. You need an MCV and a refinery. Sometimes you don't even need the MCV. He's actually got 2 refineries. He's okay. GoDofWaR is all right. Keep an eye on GoDofWaR over the course of the rest of this game. In the meantime, he's not actually Tier 3. Super Duper hasn't actually gone Tier 3. Where are the Athena cannons? Where are the Mirage tanks? Super Duper, what are you doing, man? He is going to be being a Super Duper expander. He's going to be going over here and taking this water expansion, so that's nice. Could take this land expansion, which seems even safer and like an even better investment, if you will. Berat has figured out the super secret play of GoDofWaR, which really wasn't very secret because his MCV literally just rolled off in that direction. It's kind of the most obvious thing that you could possibly do to try and escape. Uh-oh. Berat and Super Duper, they're going to be kind of contending with each other, but of course the fact that berat has the multi-gunner turret down is kind of the more significant fact in general. Yari mini subs for GoDofWaR. This is not the best way to try and do this, but it is not working for now because one more Riptide was there. And if you have one more Riptide, then you have Yari Mini-Subs. One more Yari Mini-Sub gets the kill on the Riptide. No, one more Riptide shows up. Goodbye. Refinery, Naval Yard, the last refinery of GoDofWaR gets eliminated. Even the power plant also goes down. And GoDofWaR is going to try and escape with a refinery way up here in the north. He can still technically do it. He is still technically in this game. Although if karaali catches wind of this, he is just going to kill GoDofWaR. Berat, I love this. He knocks a player out, not technically out, but he immediately expands to their main base. He's going to be able to take 2 more refineries, both of which have 13,000 credits in them. That's an additional 26,000 credits. And then, of course, you still get that money after they deplete. So there were 3, as GoDofWaR has been defeated. I was really hoping GoDofWaR was going to be one of our heroes with the harvesters. He was going to come back in the game with 1 million harvesters, which he just queues and he sends up to this little area up here. He has like 2 or 3 harvesters long distance mining, and then he's sending all the rest of the harvesters up to the top left-hand corner of the map, and he's got an ultimate harvester army, and then he comes back and he wins the game. But then there were 3, Berat, karaali, and Super Duper. Berat is obviously the one who seems like he's in the best position to take this game. He's the one who's actually been expanding more on the map. He's been growing more over the course of this game, and he's also the one that's been like actively killing stuff with his army. But that being said, karaali and Super Duper both have enough potential strength in them to knock Berat out of this game and then potentially move on to kill each other. And I mean, well, we got sentry bombers, we got Athena cannons, assault destroyers, guardian tanks, everything that you could hope for on the land, except, of course, Mirage tanks, IFVs, or Riptides. But lots of stuff on the land for Super Duper. And Berat, he's going to have 3 more refineries under his control relatively soon here. And also, he finally set up this refinery over here in the bottom right-hand-ish corner of the map. karaali, with the Shogun battleships out on the water, the Naginata cruisers, or the Naginata cruisers, if you want it to be pronounced correctly, but who wants that? Out there on the water, and that's going to be forcing Berat to try and respond to this. I'm not sure what his plan is. He might just rush in with all of his Riptides and try and go for that kind of a route, but he's going to have to fight this gigantic Tengu Chopper VX army sooner or later, and they're killing off. Yeah, I was like, the transform is going to happen at some point. Oh my gosh, those Apollos just expired. They just disappeared. As, Cryoblast going to be coming down as Super Duper is going to try and get the kill on the Naval Yard and the refinery. I don't think the refinery will be frozen. Actually, it will be. But I thought the Tier 2, I thought the Cryoblast would get the Naval Yard, but not the refinery. But I guess it gets the refinery and not the Naval Yard. But the Sentry Bombers finish off both, so it doesn't even matter, as Super Duper, with his double Sentry Bomber play, gets the kill. So karaali, little tip here, you can actually kill the refinery and then kill the command hub, and that will actually stop the multi-gunner turrets from appearing anymore after that. But if you kill off the refinery first, you actually cause more damage than just killing off the multi-gunner turrets. And the refinery is actually going to be eliminated by the overwhelming number of strikers. Not actually eliminated, though, as the refinery does technically survive for a little bit longer. The Apollo getting so many kills, way more kills than this Apollo ever hoped of being able to get. And Berat actually targets down a bunch of the weakened Chopper VXs with his Apollos, so he gets maximum damage out with these Apollos. Of course, they have limited ammo, so you got to make as much use with that ammo as you possibly can. And Berat doing a great job of eliminating so many of the air forces of karaali, but karaali a little bit slow on the uptick in terms of the defense. Those Tengus were very late to respond to the Apollos, and the Apollos got so much more damage out than they ordinarily would have. Peacekeepers for Berat going to be responding to the infantry forces of Super Duper, and Super Duper, his little attack here has done some damage, but the MCV of Berat escapes barely just over there onto the land, off of the water, and he will be able to potentially drop down a barracks and get himself back into this game with his MCV back at full health. And at the same time, these Shogun battleships, if they had vision of this MCV, could eliminate it in just a single volley with all of those Shogun battleships firing. Wave Force Artillery and King Oni versus this mix of an army from our allied player Berat, who's got a ton of javelin troopers, which will just get run over if these units actually get in there and actually attack them. But karaali is not doing that. He's letting everything get frozen. He's going to bring in the Tengus at the last possible second, but they're at a bit of range, and he's actually going to be losing some of the Tengus at a distance instead of transforming on top of the army and eliminating the... What is going on? Like lambs to the slaughter as karaali donates his entire army to the Allied Welfare Act of feeling good about yourself. What was that? That was a huge donation of units. That was nothing. I don't even know. As Super Duper moves forward with his giant Guardian tank, Mirage tank, Athena cannon army. And the EMP, where did that EMP come from? Was that okay, that was a Berat EMP as he locks down a big chunk of this Guardian tank army. I wasn't sure who EMP'd and if that was a whiffed EMP, a missed EMP by srxl, by Super Duper there. If he was actually trying to EMP the forces of Berat and he just missed and drove into his own EMP on accident. Berat has been beaten back from the north, not in a cost-efficient manner, but in a technical manner. And technically correct, although not cost-efficient, is the best kind of correct, because you still get to win. Berat, having been beaten on a couple of different fronts and having his infrastructure a little bit shredded by the forces of Super Duper, Berat may be in a tough position. He is quite spread out on the map, so it is going to be difficult for any player to eliminate him without accidentally running into the forces of the other players. But it could potentially happen. EMP locks down that Shogun battleship, and well, the Sea Wings transform into Sky Wings, and they are going to try and get the kill on this aircraft carrier. The 5 of them together, it will take about an hour for them to kill off a fully heroic aircraft carrier. Technically, it might not actually happen if they all go down. No, they barely get eliminated before the last Skywing gets destroyed. And that will do it for those Skywings. They get eliminated by the Javelin Troopers just a moment too late to save that aircraft carrier. Berat losing his original main base. Of course, this has been depleted for a little while, and probably even this one is depleted. No, it's got 1,500 credits left in it. Almost, but not quite. I love this command hub up here. Just he's preserving a little bit of build radius here. I don't know how long he's actually had that, but I like the fact that it exists, just so he's got that option to try and get a sneaky expansion out there on the water where someone might not notice it as much. And leaving this refinery seems like a curious move by Super Duper. Super Duper, I think, is trying to respond to the attack from Berat, but at the same time, he's going to be leaving Berat enough breathing room for Berat to potentially get back into this game. 2 refineries actually still here at Berat's original starting location, and Super Duper may actually be losing his own main base as, well, Berat actually turns tail at the last second there with his multi-gunner turrets, and by that I mean multi-gunner IFVs, as they are not rooted to the ground, but rather quite mobile. And feeling a little stalematey between these 3 players, as neither one of them, they've had all of these small skirmishes, or even pretty big skirmishes, but neither one of them is in a game-winning position. Berat firing off a Cryogeddon, trying to save his IFVs, but he doesn't quite do it. Or maybe that was Super Duper firing off a Cryogeddon, which if that was his Cryogeddon, that would have been like the worst placed Cryogeddon almost ever. But Berat, he survives with well, 3 or 4 or 5 refineries out here on the map, and for now he's actually kind of okay in some respect. He's got economy going on, he's got forces out on the map, but he's getting pressured from 2 sides, so he may not have much of an army for very much longer in this game, as Super Duper pressures from the south and karaali pressures from the north, as these 2 guys may actually be meeting in the middle by destroying Berat's second base over here on the right side of the map, whereas MCV ran away and narrowly escaped certain death Cryogeddon fires off. This one is from Super Duper as the Aegis shield from the Athena cannons is going to absorb that Cryogeddon. The Peacekeepers rush to the front line, some of them getting just frozen and instantly destroyed, but it's Athena cannons, Mirage tanks, and Guardian tanks which will win the day for Super Duper. Although he is actually taking so much damage from these Javelin Troopers, now that everything is actually in range, oh my gosh, Berat's infantry forces with the Aegis shield actually just crushed that army. That is what we call a meat grinder. As Super Duper runs his forces in to the incredible DPS of Berat's infantry army. I thought he was going to be able to actually get through the infantry army once he sort of closed the distance there, but he actually was not able to. Berat still hasn't placed a refinery. Well, never mind, literally as I'm saying that. He drops a refinery out here on the water, which again, that keeps him in this game. He's got a pretty hefty infantry army in terms of damage output, and he's still actually building Mirage tanks 2 at a time. Is this actually going to be a double meat grinder situation? No, they both turn around, and I thought that was going to be like a 3-way meat grinder where everyone is fighting everyone, and they all meet in this little area right in front of the war factories of Berat. But it is not meant to be. Berat will survive for a little while longer. karaali trying to take this expansion over here in GoDofWAR's original main base. If you remember 100 years ago, GoDofWAR was in this game. Shogun battleships going to be pressuring as Berat is not necessarily going to have a whole lot to respond. He has maybe Vindicators? No, he has Apollos. So I guess he has Athena cannons. He could try and get Athena cannons over there to deal with the Shogun battleships. But that would probably be the only way for him to really deal with that. Oh my gosh, all of those palm trees, except for this clump and this clump, all of those palm trees are Mirage tanks. I was like, wow, there are a lot of palm trees around that rock, and they're close enough to the rock that they do look like they're details of the map. They don't actually look like Mirage tanks, but that is so many Mirage tanks from Super Duper. That's ridiculous. Well, I guess this is going to be karaali's attempt to kill Berat. And I mean, keeping in mind that Berat can still, of course, potentially come back out here on the water. He really needs to drop a naval yard so he can get, make sure that he has a production facility out there. Make sure he has something to build. Oh my gosh, this... He walks into it. He walks further into it with most of these forces. That takes a huge chunk of this army out of this fight, which actually means the Mirage tanks of Berat can get in on top of the army of karaali and crush absolutely everything. This fight made so much easier by that Cryogeddon and by the fact that karaali walked almost directly into the Cryogeddon as he eats up the entire army of karaali. And once again, karaali with the not very cost-efficient engagement is going to maybe not die to this attack from Berat, but he's certainly not going to kill Berat with this attack. Berat standing strong, karaali and Super Duper, neither one of them really confident enough in their forces to actually step forward and try and kill off Berat. Berat at the same time with a huge group of Riptides keeping clear the western edge of the map, with all of his Riptides eliminating everything that's out on the water. And actually, he may be taking another expansion. He may be reclaiming his main base. It's going to take a while for those refineries that are depleted or on the depleted ore nodes to actually pay for themselves, but they will eventually pay for themselves. Well, Wave Force Artillery, Tsunami tanks. I don't know that there are actually enough numbers here from karaali to stop this attack. Once Berat closes the distance and gets in there, I don't know that karaali can really stop him. He can take shots at him from a distance, and that would definitely do a lot of damage, but if the Javelin Troopers and the Mirage tanks ever close the distance with that army, they will shred it relatively quickly. And for now, Berat backs off, tries to, I don't know, find another angle. Tank Buster Surprise. karaali calls in a Tank Buster Surprise, and, well, he may be able to kill off a power plant. Remember back in the beta when the Tank Busters were just instantly available? Engineer. Is this Engineer for this oil derrick? Because I guess that's the only thing he could really be going for. Tank Buster is going to be killing off the power plant, and the MCV is going to be under threat from those Shogun battleships. They get the Engineer as well. 2 Tank Busters die to the Athena cannon. And was that a second Engineer? I'm not actually sure. Yeah, it was an Engineer. It did jump inside of the MCV. So it's back up to full health. Berat saves his own in MCV. The War Factory may be the next target. This is the second of Berat's War Factories, so they've both been eliminated now. And these Shogun battleships, they're both fully heroic. They can do a lot of damage, but I don't know that Berat will let them escape this time. He does not eat up one of them, as it does manage to drive away or sail away, I guess. There are 3 more Shogun battleships. What is karaali actually doing? He has 3 Shogun battleships sitting offshore doing nothing for minutes at a time. And finally, these other 2 Shogun battleships get eliminated by these now 2 fully heroic Athena cannons, as the other 3 Athena cannons haven't really been doing quite as much in that moment. Cryocopters showing up after the Cryo Blast scares away these Shogun battleships and stops them from really taking part in this battle. These Sea Wings, they're getting a lot of free damage. That one Cryocopter doesn't quite go down, as it does survive for the current moment. The Athena cannons really need to get over there and kill off these Shogun battleships. Shrinking down the Shoguns is nice. And this is 4 assault destroyers versus just so many Riptides. But really the big hero here is the hydrofoils. If these other hydrofoils got in here with their weapons jammers, they would have stopped even more of these Riptides from going down. But for now, the Riptides mostly do survive, placing down that refinery immediately after securing the area, as Berat is rebuilding his economy from just about nothing. He had a very weak economy a couple of minutes ago, but he has rebuilt quite well. And that is one thing about Berat. He was never really in a bad place with the economy. I don't think he ever had, like, really fewer than 3 refineries on this map, which is pretty good, all things considered. Goodbye, Shogun battleships, as 2 more of them get frozen down, although this one might be out of range of anything of our allied player to actually clean it up. Sea Wings will save both of these Shogun battleships for now. Athena cannons trying to get in range of these units to actually be able to eliminate them, but for now, it's not quite going to happen. Oh, never mind. There's a fully heroic Athena cannon in this mix, which can get the range, get the kill on that Shogun battleship way over there. Once again, the assault destroyers, they're going to try and break this position, but Berat is not going to let it happen. karaali calling in maybe a precision bomber. I'm not actually sure what that is that he's just called in there. What was that flare? Nothing happened. That was weird. Huh. I don't know what karaali just called in there. Maybe final squadron or balloon bombs or something, but whatever it was, it didn't really fire off there. I guess balloon bombs had just finished? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I missed the balloon bombs. Oh, that precision bomber cleans up all of those tank busters in a perfect move. Berat cleans up the tank buster surprise. What? Why did he activate? I guess he's expecting this army to come up here. But, oh my gosh, Cryogeddon fires off. Oh, this entire army gets caught once again. Cryocopters coming in, Berat busting through this army, and once again, karaali's forces just get destroyed. karaali has been defeated, and it's down to Berat and Super Duper, and at this point, Super Duper doesn't have a whole lot going on for him. Time Bomb gets called in. It forces the assault destroyers away at the current moment. Berat could take basically every expansion in the north 2/3 of the map and be pretty confident in that, but he doesn't even need to, as everything gets frozen down. The Cryocopters and the Riptides eliminate everything that Super Duper has, and Super Duper even loses his air forces for no good reason. Mirage tanks, Athena cannons. Are there some of these? Oh, yeah. Remember how Super Duper had 1 million Mirage tanks and never used them? Well, I guess he's going to use them now as he rushes forward, and he should be able to crush this army of Berat. He can't do anything about the cryocopters, but he can, he didn't actually, he turns around, he stops attacking, the infantry gets so much damage off. What was that? He was up in their face, and then he just turned south, and he drove away. What was that? Hey, there we go. Berat wins as he crushes everything that he had. And we get to see Red Alert 3 run at a true 60 FPS when it's fast forwarding. All right, so half of that game was pretty fun, and the other half was less so. But half of that game was pretty fun, so that is our last... No, I think our last game is actually on Magma. Now, we have, I think, one more Magma game to get to. But before we get to another game on Magmageddon, we have got a different map coming up. I mean, it's not that much of a surprise. We are now on Pool Party in the top left-hand corner of this 2v2. We have as the Cyan Empire, it's Berat. In the south, as the Green Empire, it's OBIEK. OBIEK? OBIEK? I don't know. And in the top right-hand corner, as the Yellow Allies, it's HugeTrumpFan. So that guy, we'll have to see how that works out. In the bottom right-hand corner, as the Blue Allies, it's KingKonG. So, Allies versus Empire, Berat and OBIEK versus HugeTrumpFan and KingKonG. Which is a pretty funny name, HugeTrumpFan. But we'll have to see if maybe he can win, unlike someone else. We can't all be winners in life, and we don't all win all the time. But maybe HugeTrumpFan can actually win this game, which would be a 2020 win for him. KingKonG with a little bit of peacekeeper action against these sneaky dojos of OBIEK. OBIEK, you know, he's got that dojo action going on, but KingKonG, he ain't gonna let it happen. Always love placing down the walls just to be a little bit annoying, force your opponent to kill them off. It's not so much of a big deal when it's like this refinery. Like, when is KingKonG ever going to take this expansion? He's gonna expand there, he's maybe gonna expand there, or he's gonna expand here. But like, here, he's not gonna take this refinery for quite a while, so I'm not sure exactly that's like the best wall segments to place, but, you know, whatever. Ooh, fast airfield for HugeTrumpFan. I'm not sure if he's... I think this was maybe airfield after refineries, so maybe it wasn't that fast of an airfield. But he does get the oil derrick. Always nice to secure the oil derrick, that extra bit of income. And kind of funny that the Empire player a little bit slow on grabbing his oil derrick. Unfortunately, OBIEK's dojo definitely delayed there. Oh man, if those peacekeepers had been a little bit further south, they actually could have killed off that engineer before he ran into the dojo, or into the oil derrick, which is funny because dojos normally allow you to get pretty much guaranteed captures of those oil derricks. That one was almost contested. Couple of Tengus from OBIEK may end up going down. Nice control there on the Tengus by OBIEK to try and get inside of the minimum firing range of that Apollo and stop the Apollo from actually killing off the Tengus. But it didn't quite work out as well as OBIEK was hoping. Third refinery up and running for Berat. The dog from HugeTrumpFan does indeed see that, so he knows kind of the situation with Berat, what exactly that guy is up to. An MCV move, but I'm guessing to the water? He's not actually doing anything right now. He's kind of frozen in place there in kind of a bizarre way. Peacekeepers for KingKonG. They probably won't get the kill on this oil derrick. Ooh, and that Imperial Warrior gets the kill on all three of them. Very nicely done by that one Imperial Warrior. Couple of Tengus getting eliminated by the allied air forces of KingKonG. Berat and OBIEK joining together their Tengus with, of course, those repairs could have taken on the Apollos, but the Apollos do run away for the current moment. Couple of Dolphins going to be coming in. They get the kill on that Harvester, and the Tengus are a little bit slow to respond. So they may actually get the kill on the refinery. A great move there by HugeTrumpFan, able to kill off the refinery. He probably doesn't want to stick around too much. He's actually trying to maximize the splash damage on those dolphins. It looked like he was trying to line up the shots so the damage of the dolphins hit multiple Tengus. And going to be able to clean out the Tengus as well. And this is like the harassment from our allied players on the right side is doing so much more than our Empire players on the left side. The harassment is trying to happen on both sides, but it really is just working for our allied players and not so much for the Empire players. Third refinery up and running. Naval Yard is out here in the north for HugeTrumpFan. So he's kept the Naval Yard around for now. I don't know if he's going to keep producing dolphins out of it, or if he's just going to kind of cut his number of dolphins and move on to, you know, more air and ground forces. KingKonG showing up with a couple of Apollos trying to catch out some Tengus, but they're actually paying a little bit too much attention. They transform in time, and the Harvester does go down. This one Yari minisub has been chasing these dolphins for so long, but the Yari minisub fell so far behind the dolphins that they were able to get another Harvester kill. So OBIEK having a bit of a difficult time with the insurance plan of this one power plant in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Going to be hiding down there and potentially keeping him in this game sneakily way down there in the corner. And that's really why you don't try and turret push as Empire. I mean, technically you can do it, but yeah, you can't really do it. Cryo shot fires off directly onto the power plant for the kill, the nice instant kill of that power plant by KingKonG. He also gets the Harvester as well. Once again, the harassment from our team on the right side being so much more successful, although these two Riptides literally drive into the MCV for an easy kill, and KingKonG actually did take this refinery. He didn't expand here. He didn't expand here. He didn't take the safe expansion back here. He actually went for this aggressive expansion here, directly where OBIEK was blocking. So, color me surprised, as that is actually what he went for. The barracks gets eliminated there by his own cryo shot. A little bit unfortunate there for KingKonG, as OBIEK with his tsunami tanks may actually have to escape out onto the water as this assault destroyer gets closer, ever closer to going for the crush. A couple of Tengus going to be showing up for Berat, and actually this assault destroyer will get eliminated. A second assault destroyer trying to get in on the action, but the MCV may actually be body blocking this assault destroyer, and he does not get any more damage off, but the assault destroyer gets the crush on one of those. Is he actually going to... Okay, the assault destroyer does actually make it past the MCV, and this MCV is taking some serious damage from our allied players. That spy... Uh-oh. KingKonG, what are you doing with this spy? He's waiting for these tsunami tanks to close ranks. And this spy I don't think is even disguised, so he just knows that it's a spy. Well, those assault destroyers, they were doing really good work a little while ago, but they not doing so good of work now. Now that they're dead. I always love in Pool Party how you have these little pockets and you'll sometimes end up with aircraft carriers in that little pocket. EMP totally whiffs. Using the EMP bug is HugeTrumpFan to try and lock down those tsunami tanks, but it actually didn't work. The tsunami tanks were gone by the time the EMP missile actually got there. You can splash around from one of these pools to the other, with this aircraft carrier attacking this refinery over here to the west of it. OBIEK with a couple of Striker VXs is actually going to be able to punch down the power plant and may actually get a kill on the refinery as well. He does not queue up the attack, so a little bit unfortunate there. He's going to potentially go for the boot camp, or maybe he's just going to go for the airfield, which also would be a good choice if he's able to take down the airfield. Nope, he's not able to take down the airfield. Vindicator does get eliminated. KingKonG unable to secure any more kills with those Vindicators. The Apollo does not give chase, which means for now, these two Chopper VXs do escape, pretty much taking no damage, Once again, the expansion of Berat. Oh, no, it doesn't get shut down. The Dolphin dies once again. The ore collector surviving with this refinery and the Dolphin dying at the last possible second there. Striker's going to be showing up as well as Tengus to get the surround and the kill on this aircraft carrier. 3 multi-gunner turrets are here, but they will be getting targeted down as a 4th one gets placed, and the multi-gunner turrets could actually be eliminated and focused down, but it's going to be costly as an Apollo shows up to do extra damage to the air forces of our Empire players, as finally the Apollo gets eliminated by the combined forces of the Tengus. And this MCV, the Tier 3 MCV, under threat of being eliminated, considering there's no defense in this particular pocket of the map. It's north and south, but with no Apollos and no Javelin Troopers to cover that area, HugeTrumpFan loses his MCV as he's got a war factory here, but he just lost his Tier 3 that he invested so much time and money into. And he actually has no defense. No, finally one IFV steps out onto the map, gets a kill on a striker, but not on the other strikers as the multi-gunner turret gets the last shot on that striker as it was trying to pull away. One more IFV steps forward, and he does not get the kill as the striker from OBIEK survives with just a bit of health, but the War Factory also survives as HugeTrumpFan keeps his hopes of victory alive in this game. Ore refinery is still here, but the harvester has not been restarted as, that fully heroic striker gets eliminated after all. Womp womp. That was a great attack by our Empire players, joining forces, the Tengus and the Strikers, to try and make something happen. And it was almost a game ending, but they didn't quite get... If they would have gotten the kill on that War Factory, because then the IFEs hadn't been produced, then that may have actually been enough to get the win for the game. Because at that point, the War Factory is gone, the Naval Yard is gone, the MCV is gone, and there literally are no production facilities for HugeTrumpFan. So he would pretty much just be out of the game with no way to get back in the game, and then it's a 2v1 against KingKonG, but KingKonG may actually be taking a lot of damage from these Tengus and these Strikers anyways, as Berat and OBIEK kind of meet up here in the south. OBIEK going to be picking down a couple of those power plants, and one Striker once again escaping with basically 0 HP as he flies back to his main base to get those repairs. And that is some pretty hefty infrastructure damage that was just done to our allied team. KingKonG and HugeTrumpFan are going to have a hard time fighting from kind of the down position that they're in. They really need to score some wins against like the economy or the infrastructure of their opponents, but honestly, I'm not sure what they're realistically going to be able to do. If they could, sneak some forces in or get a couple of kills on refineries quickly, but yeah, I don't know. Things are looking tough for our allied players, but they certainly are not out of the woods yet. And honestly, I'm surprised OBIEK. Oh, OBIEK. He has one refinery and one... They both need to expand. Huh. Well, no wonder they don't actually have a follow-up army to those attacks. That was pretty much most of the standing army still out on the map for OBIEK and Berat. Nice dodge of that cryo shot. Did not let his army get frozen up by it. Couple of Javelin Troopers. No, actually a multi-gunner IFV here behind the tree is going to be doing a dance with these Tengus and won't quite kill off the Tengus just yet. The Tsunami Tank will actually potentially get the kill on that IFV while the multi-gunner turrets are trying to stand up against the forces of our Empire players, and barely they may be able to do it with the help of this heroic multi-gunner, or with this heroic Riptide, as they force back Berat and OBIEK and Tengus in the air die to the anti-air attacks of our allied players, and they clear the skies, they clear the water, and they get themselves a little bit of a better foothold in this game. The cryo shot eliminating this refinery, and the oil derrick going down as well. Losing the Javelin Troopers is never happy, or you never feel good about that, but those Javelin Troopers have more than paid for themselves with a couple of kills that they just got. The refinery and the oil derrick And, well, these 4 or 5 tsunami tanks, if this one actually makes it to the front line so low on health, may end up being eliminated by the IFV if it gets a little bit too close to it. One ore refinery gets established as another one gets eliminated as KingKonG strikes out against OBIEK and tries to kill off his mecha bay. He won't quite get the mecha bay, but he has done a disturbing amount of damage to it. And unfortunately, OBIEK loses yet another refinery. This guy barely in the game in terms of economy. He's got 1 refinery and 1 oil derrick, so he's still always in this as long as you've got that bit of money, but he is not where he wants to be economically. He is just kind of falling to pieces in a lot of ways. Berat with the tsunami tanks trying to just navigate around the assault destroyers, but they're not really doing anything. At the end of the day, they just took a bunch of hull damage, and they're just going to have to kind of pull back, regroup, and try and refocus somewhere else. Another refinery gets eliminated by the Riptide forces of KingKonG. Those Riptides being so powerful out on the water, definitely less powerful here on the land. Tsunami tanks cutting back to the main base of KingKonG, or of Berat, trying to defend against the forces of KingKonG. And Berat, he's trying to expand, but it's just not working out very well for him. 1 single Tengu from OBIEK trying to shut down this entire expansion of HugeTrumpFan, and it actually is working, as OBIEK may actually be losing his refinery or his oil derrick there to the Riptides of KingKonG. At the same time, 1 more harvester goes down, and the Defense Bureau may also be eliminated. He's actually going to be going for the power plant, seeing that he just came back online with the power, and 1 more power plant going down will once again slow down the production. Never mind, that's not actually enough to slow down the production of KingKonG. So KingKonG will remain online. Assault Destroyer, nope, doesn't quite get the lucky spawn in and get the crush of that tsunami tank. He does get the crush a little bit later next to the power plant, as both tsunami tanks explode in unison, and OBIEK has almost been knocked completely out of this game. OBIEK has been defeated. He keeps his MCV for the current moment, and these peacekeepers inside of this building will actually survive to kill off this instant generator, it looks like. Although this Imperial Warrior could actually clear out this building. I think it's just the 1 peacekeeper inside of there. Cryogeddon fires off, but it's basically, actually, I think a war factory was there. I think the Mecha Bay was there. And the transform of the Chopper VXs is their defeat, as the Apollos for KingKonG come in, and HugeTrumpFan and KingKonG are victorious in this 2v2. They actually made it happen. Trump being beaten within an inch of his life in this game and surviving just barely. KingKonG really pulling it through with the Riptide harassment force heading all over the map with those Riptides, doing some serious damage out on the water to the expansions of Berat and OBIEK. And I mean, Berat and OBIEK looked like they were playing better kind of in the mid-game, but really our allied team just pulling it back in the late game. That will do it for our 2v2. We have 1 more replay to get to in this day of casting subscriber replays, and 1 more game on Magmageddon. So this one will finish us out for our afternoon of Red Alert 3. Going to take a quick beverage break before we jump into the last game. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you for watching live. And of course, this will go up on YouTube as well. Zlex! Are you kidding? Zlex showing up for the Red Alert 3 action. I cannot believe it. How are you doing, buddy? It has been a long time. Are you still playing Diablo 3? Zlex was cursed. Zlex, he was a Red Alert 3 player in his heart of hearts. Not really. He didn't like Red Alert 3 that much, but he was a Red Alert 3 player, and he was doing all sorts of stuff with other video games while he was in university, and he was also doing Diablo 3, and he didn't want to make Diablo 3 videos, but everyone, when he would make a Diablo 3 video, it would get massive views, and then all of the other stuff that he posted to YouTube got less views, and he was like, why does this Diablo 3 stuff get so many views, but all my other stuff get less views? And that's just the way of things. He was cursed with Diablo 3. So Zlex, are you still on the Diablo 3 trade? What is even going on with that franchise these days? I think nothing, but who knows? Replay number 8 of the day, our last game. Welcome back to Magmageddon for the last time today for a 3v3. In the top left-hand corner as the Green Empire, this is GreekGift. As our orange Soviets in the middle, it's Chris 880. And in the south, as the Purple Empire, it's Aurora. So 2 empires and a Soviet. On the top right-hand corner, making up team number 2 as the Blue Empire, it's Alcatraz. As the Red Empire, it's ASDF, making a return once again. And in the south, as the Cyan Empire, it's Berat. Berat featuring quite a few in these last couple of games. Some wins, some losses. We'll have to see here in game number 8 of today how he fares. No allies in this match. Empire players and 1 Soviet player. That'll make some people definitely happy if that is your jam. You got a lot of Empire player and 1 lone Soviet player. Chris always playing for the Soviet Union, always with the Soviet action. Many dojo cores were constructed that day. Many dojo cores. Probably not as many dojo cores as we saw multi-gunner turrets in that other game with like 10 allied players in it, but many dojo cores over the course of this game. Many of them getting eliminated, just like that one, having done nothing with their life. Aurora with the sneaky attempt to try and... Oh, no. The dojo gets in there. He's trying to grab this oil derrick from Berat, but Berat is not actually going to let it happen as he's trying to force his dojo core in there, and Aurora also trying to force his dojo core. It's just a mess. The engineer! Does he get the capture? He does get the capture. It gets shot up by the Tengu, but it's not fast enough DPS. Chris gets the cash back on a couple of those things, and Berat is going to have to take back his oil derrick. At the same time, ASDF crossing the map and taking the oil derrick of his opponent. So going to be able to cross the map and capture that last oil derrick, or that not last oil derrick, but capture Aurora's oil derrick after Aurora captures Berat's oil derrick. Everyone's just trading out the structures on the map with each other. Hammer tank from Chris, heading out through the middle of the map. A couple of Tangus heading south for GreekGift. Going to be trying to chase down Alcatraz's Tangus and allow Chris to secure his 3rd refinery without too much of a fight. Tank busters from GreekGift going to be jumping out of that, well, the sudden transport actually almost gets blocked in there by the walls. But they jump out of the sudden transport, then they jump back in, as wall segments for ASDF are going to be helping Alcatraz to try and contain this attack. And there's actually turning into a harvester like nothing to see here. But of course, lots to see here. And unfortunately for GreekGift, his attack fell pretty much flat on his face. Berat, well, I don't know that he really needs to be worried about a single hammer tank and a single bullfrog. This is not really like a game-ending kind of force here, but having this terror drone over here next to the MCV so the MCV can't pack up and go for the crush of anything, and then also, if you build like a refinery right away, you're just going to lose it to the terror drone. So that's pretty funny from Chris with a great move of very few units, but actually doing something with them. Or at the same time, Aurora with a big group of Tangus going to be turning north to attack Berat and ASDF as they are both flying through the map with so many Tangus under their control. Hammer Tank still trying to get the kill on that Harvester, and this MCV from Berat severely delayed in whatever it is that he wanted to do. If he wanted to expand or, like, build a Mecha Bay, or he's already got a Mecha Bay down here, but whatever he wanted to do with that MCV has been so much delayed by the presence of that Terror Drone. The entire expansion... Oh, he gets the Infect! So the MCV, I think, sacrifices itself in a way. Of course, he's going to drive back here. He's going to get the repair at the Mecha Bay. But he absorbs the Terror Drone with his MCV so that he could finally clear the Terror Drone out, as he, I guess, wasn't sure that he would actually be able to kill off the Terror Drone just straight up. So that was kind of a funny move there by Berat to use his MCV essentially to absorb the damage of that Terror Drone. Berat going to be coming in with his own Tengus, meeting up with ASDF's Tengus to kill off the forces of Aurora. And Berat really needs to get those Tengus down to that War Factory for those repairs. The MCV back up and running. Aurora with a couple of Tengus harassing the Harvesters of Berat, going to be able to kill off the Harvesters, at least at the current moment, before Berat transforms and kills off the Tengus of Aurora. Lots of Tengus from Alcatraz, and for now he has been able to mostly execute a defense. Wow. What a grab. What a catch by GreekGift. He just gets that that refinery completely for free. I guess he can't transform immediately and escape. That would have really been for free. He's losing a couple of Tengus here in exchange, but losing like 2 or 3 Tengus for catching that refinery at that point is definitely worth it, because that is all money down the drain, no recourse for Alcatraz. Tank Busters from Aurora still trying to do something sneaky, and for now they will escape the firepower of the Strikers. And, well, never mind. The Tank Buster may actually just get cleaned up by the Harvester that it was sent to kill. And the Harvester is supreme. Harvester, clearly the best unit in the game, always wins its fights, whether they're with Dolphins or Tank Busters or tanks. Other than the times that they die, they always win. Tengu v Tengu, but for some reason Aurora has his Tengu set on hold fire stance. And, I don't know why, but he does. Wait, is that a sudden transport? Oh, that's a sudden transport, that's why it is. That's why it's on hold fire stance. Because it's gonna die. Strike VX crashes to the ground. And Chris getting the kill with the Bullfrogs there. Always nice to get the kill with the Bullfrogs when you can. For now, Berat leaves Aurora's sudden transport there. Who is sudden transport is that even? Did Aurora disguise a sudden transport as his own Tengu? Or was Berat attacking his own sudden transport? Because if so, that would be pretty funny. Tengu v Tengu, both with point defense drones, but the MiGs joining in the fight means Berat is going to get eliminated. Also, the Bullfrogs getting in on the fight a little bit there, but the Tengus do transform and kill off one Bullfrog before Aurora shows up with reinforcements a little bit late to the party, as Berat is able to escape with 3 of his Tengus down to the south there. Alcatraz, he's on the wrong side of the map, buddy, and he is caught by a heroic Tengu, and now the reinforcements of Aurora as he closes the distance, or attempts to close the distance, as they pause for little moments there. And, well, I guess the Tengus are going to get as much damage as they possibly can, but I don't know that they're necessarily long for this world, as the MCV packs up and goes for a couple crushes. He's going to get the crush on at least one of them. They're actually going to get that power plant. That was maybe not the best handled attack or defense of an attack I've ever seen by GreekGift, as he actually loses that power plant. But he did eliminate all of the Tengus eventually. They did all go down eventually. Bears rushing forward for Chris, and he's going to be able to eliminate one of the Tank Busters, rather, as reinforcements show up for the rest of these folks. And, well, the Bears are actually just going to be able to camp right outside of the barracks while the Hammer Tanks take the barracks down. Berat going to try and respond as ASDF swings around to the south, and he's completely avoiding this army. He's going to try and cut across the map and backstab his opponents, which is with his more mobile army. I don't know that he's actually going to be able to do very much, but he's going to potentially try. I guess this army just decides to cut and run. They turn around and they try and escape as Striker VXs in the sky kill off hammer tanks while Tengus duel it out in the sky. Point defense drones on both sides, but the MiGs are going to swing things into the favor of our team on the left side as the Strikers from ASDF get potentially caught behind enemy lines, although for now they'll actually escape. The hammer tank, not enough speed to kill off those Strikers, not enough speed to actually eliminate them as the Strikers stomp their way a little bit further south. And, well, the Tengus transform to go ahead and go for the kill on the Strikers, but then the Strikers transform to get the kill on the Tengus. The MiGs and the Tengus show up as reinforcements, and everything goes wrong for ASDF. He will get, berat, will get a kill on a couple of these Tengus, as there's the transform for the last time by those Tengus. Alcatraz showing up a little bit too late with the Tengu reinforcements to try and show up to this party, but doesn't quite help out his ally too much. Emperor's Rage fires off, but it looks like the Tengus and the MCV going to be able to be enough to eliminate the forces of Alcatraz, as Alcatraz gets eliminated by GreekGift and Aurora. In this game, all over the place. I do love this when these point defense drones from one of our Empire players get added to Chris's forces. It makes his hammer tanks that much stronger. And even Emperor's Rage on top of hammer tanks can be so effective. I mean, we saw that earlier today in, I think maybe even in game number 1, those hammer tanks putting out some serious damage with that Emperor's Rage. Mixing in a couple of bullfrogs with the Tengus as well it's such a powerful combination. 4 bullfrogs with Tengus, that's going to clear the skies of anything that your opponents would have. Now, can the hammer tanks actually get the crushes off on this infantry? The wall segment's kind of breaking this army up a little bit naturally, but the reinforcements from Aurora as he transforms his Tengus could swing the battle into the favor. Bullfrog's a little bit late on the response, so the Tengus in the sky don't get eliminated. While they're in the sky, they do manage to escape a little bit. Alcatraz swings in with Tengus, but it's an ill-fated attack as he's trying to defend ASDF, but it's not quite working out as he would like. Alcatraz going to be losing that Striker VX as well there on the ground to the leech beam of the hammer tanks, and now the hammer tanks are going to be able to just destroy this refinery so quickly. And ASDF, his army almost completely eliminated. He's going to have to try and rebuild as the forces of Chris get closer, ever closer to his main base. And at the same time, ASDF actually splits out a bunch of Tengus to go for harassment here and there. He's actually going to be harassing many of Chris's harvesters while Chris is trying to make short work of the base of ASDF, and it could actually work as Chris's army stalls out there. Parts of his army get pulled back to defend against the Tengus, and this Tengu harass from ASDF, it's like in every corner of the map almost. It's not necessarily totally effective, as some of the harvesters get pulled off the line, they get repairs, and then they get sent back to work. But at the same time, some of these harvester kills are actually happening, and this has bought even more time for ASDF. The wall segments cut the army in half. A force field wall cuts the army of Chris in half, and the hammer tanks do not trade as effectively as they would have, although these terror drones could definitely change that around a little bit here, as one tsunami tank almost gets eliminated by the terror drone, but it gets self-killed at the last moment there. GreekGift rushing in with a couple of Tengus. It's a bit of a mess of an engagement as some of the Tengus die on both sides, and the point defense drones versus the repairs, a heroic Tengu versus non-heroic Tengus, and it's barely going to work out in the favor of, I was going to say Alcatraz, but with this double vet, okay, now let's get 2 Tengus with the repairs will indeed work out. I thought maybe the double vet Tengu would win the day, but that reinforcement was enough to swing things into the favor of Alcatraz. And this 3v3, so many battles have gone on, but at the same time it feels like we're still at a kind of stalemate situation. No one is in a really strong enough position to outright win the game. Big harassment coming in from Berat. He's committed a lot of Tengus to this. He is going to be able to get the Harvester. He may actually be able to pick up a Hammer Tank kill as well. Going to be losing nothing, actually, to the satellites. They mostly whiff as the Tengus dodge around the satellites. The Hammer Tank, for now, has survived. And, well, I think the Tengus will also just be able to escape as they ice skate out onto the water and get away from the Hammer Tanks of, well, they get away from the Hammer Tanks, and they drive right into the waiting guns of Aurora, as I think Berat will finally be able to escape. GreekGift and Aurora not able to perform a Tengu sandwich and catch those Tengus. But the MiGs turning to fight against the Tengus, and they just die. The numbers are a little bit screwy here, as the numbers may be on the side of one team or the other, but the Emperor's Rage is going to potentially make things a victory for Berat and ASDF. One reinforcing MiG doing some work, but just gets shattered as the forces of Berat and ASDF join together to clear out the skies. Chris still unable to break the front door of ASDF as he just places wall after wall, keeping himself in his main base. He's not expanding out on the map. He's not really growing as a player, but he's just keeping himself alive, and sometimes that's all you can do. Chris, at the same time, with his, 5 refineries, not necessarily all of them all working at once, considering how much harassment he's been taking. I'm not actually sure how many refineries he has active at any one point. Alcatraz showing up and killing off the MCV of GreekGift up here in the north. Aurora showing up to try and help out in this fight, but it's 3 Tengus with no point defense drones against so many Tengus of Alcatraz, as Alcatraz doing some serious work up here in the north. He may have actually functionally kicked GreekGift out of this game, as GreekGift has not much of an army and no MCV, which means if this Mecha Bay goes down, that's pretty much it for GreekGift. He can pretty much just leave the game and try and hand his stuff off to someone else. We'll have to see if Chris is actually able to strike out against ASDF and kill off ASDF. Bull Rush comes in. A Terror Drone gets an effect on one of these Tsunami tanks. Unfortunately, the Bull Rush of that King Oni basically didn't connect with anything, and the King Oni gets a couple of good shots off, but not necessarily any, but definitely not enough to eliminate this army, as the Tsunami tanks, they're weaving their way forward, trying to get as much damage off onto these Hammer tanks, but the Tank Busters are really going to clean things up for our Empire player, as Berat comes in with a couple of Tengus to try and catch the retreating Hammer tanks. He pulls back at the last second there, and that Bull Rush actually doing some serious damage as the entire army of Chris gets eliminated. Tengus transform on top of the Tank Busters, and the Tank Buster army also gets wiped out as both sides pretty much clean up the other. GreekGift has been defeated. He hands everything over to Chris as he exits the game, giving Chris 2 additional refineries, one of them active, as well as an oil derrick way up here in the north. Needs to go ahead and rebuild that harvester so he can get it back online, and that will give Chris a serious amount of cash and a seriously good income, but again, he also just kind of lost his entire army. He's rebuilt a 6 Hammer Tank army. He's not going up to that Tier 3. No V4s, no Apocalypse tanks, nothing like that. Couple of Terror Drones here locking down a King Oni and a Tsunami tank so that these Leech Beams can just slowly but surely work down the health of those units. Berat swinging in with the Tengus. Once again, he's trying to find openings and clean angles where he can make something happen. Berat almost always active on the map with multiple units on multiple fronts. The Terror Drone gets the infect of this King Oni, but the King Oni kills 2 of the Hammer tanks with the Bull Rush as it rushes forward before being eliminated. More and more Terror Drones here on the front line for Chris, helping him to be efficient with these engagements. Not always the most efficient, but the Terror Drones definitely playing a big part in this match with Chris, as 2 Hammer tanks get eliminated before that Wave Force Artillery finally goes down. Toxins getting called in there by Chris, and, well, Alcatraz once again striking out against his opponent in the north, and unfortunately for Chris, he may have to say goodbye to both of these refineries. He's going to get a flak cannon down just in time, but these are point defense drones on these strikers, and trading out 1 striker for 2 refineries is definitely worth it for Alcatraz, as he does not eliminate. Ooh, the indecision is actually worse than losing. Oh my gosh, it actually survives. He calls in balloon bombs or final squadron or something to try and get the last bit of HP away from that refinery, and he should be able to do it, killing off that refinery once and for all. Another King Oni gets infected. It desperately needs to make... Okay, he's trying to do the thing. Yeah, so if you force fire Wave Force Artillery on the other side of the King Oni, you can kill off the Terror Drone. But as you saw there, he actually missed the first 2 shots, and the Terror Drone survived. And then the third shot got the Terror Drone, and the King Oni, of course, survived. So you have to be a little bit careful there as you actually have to line it up. And a couple of Tengus going down, but this is enough strikers to potentially just overwhelm those bullfrogs. Never mind as Aurora shows up with so many Tengus and eliminates the strikers of Alcatraz. Alcatraz now trying to dive on top of the bullfrogs. He's trying to eliminate one piece of this army. If he could just clean up all of the anti-air, then the strikers could actually clean up the hammer tanks very cost-effectively. But in this case, it's just not quite going to work out with the presence of those bullfrogs and those Tengus. Berat showing up. We saw a couple of his strikers trying to wheedle away the number of hammer tanks of Chris. And it kind of worked, but then Chris turned around and was able to push back the strikers. One Tengu from ASDF. Once again, ASDF with a just crazy harvester harass everywhere possible on the map that he can stick a Tengu. He's sticking a Tengu. And, well, it's working out some of the time at least. He gets another kill on another one of Chris's harvesters. A Wave Force Artillery eliminating hammer tank after hammer tank. Even the retreating hammer tanks are going to get picked apart as these Wave Force Artilleries fire off the last couple of shots. And the hammer tanks just getting outclassed, outmatched by that artillery of ASDF. Oh, this is so frustrating for Chris to deal with. He placed the flak cannon a little bit further to the west, and that leaves him vulnerable to the strikers coming in to try and clean up that super reactor. Does a decent amount of damage to the super reactor, but the MiG saves the day, so Chris is not, in too much trouble just yet. He really needs to keep that super reactor around, not just for the Tier 2, but also just to keep his production online. Berat! He is cleaning up a couple of Tengus of Aurora. He has a serious Tengu cloud flying around the map. He's actually going to lose a couple of extra strikers just because they were a little bit slow to retreat. And this is Chris's defense. He calls in some satellites. The satellites miss the army of ASDF, but ASDF, he may actually be, well, no, I think with the reinforcements, the Tengus, he may be able to break Chris finally, as Chris's defense would have been fine versus what ASDF had, but with the reinforcements, I don't know that it'll actually be enough. 2 King Onis still standing strong, but one of them is just going to get leached to death, which is good for the hammer tanks, but they're not killing it very quickly. More units transforming in as Tengus just explode on top of everything, and, well, those Tengus actually didn't eliminate all of the hammer tanks. One hammer tank does survive, but that is not enough defense as the combined forces of ASDF and Berat still pressing further forward. And that one hammer tank, it actually has a King Oni beam, but it does not kill the King Oni. That King Oni barely winning out that fight with a hammer tank, with a Tier 2 hammer tank. The King Oni almost getting eliminated there because that was an upgraded heroic hammer tank. And a Twin Blade gets eliminated. Chris losing unit after unit without much of a ground army. He leaves the game. Chris has been defeated. Aurora has been defeated. GreekGift leaving the game much earlier, and his teammates, unfortunately, were not able to win the day. And that will do it for our last game in this day of replays. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in live on Twitch. And let me know on Twitch, were there any mid-roll ads in this live stream? Because once you tune in, you may get served an ad right at the beginning, but after that, you shouldn't get any ads. So if you did, let me know, and that'll help me decide if I should stream on Twitch anymore. That will do it for today for these 8 replays that we watched together. Thank you all very much for joining us. If you missed the broadcast, of course, this VOD will be available on YouTube once it uploads in a couple of hours. That will do it for me. This is Sybert, signing out.